Warning: the following audio may contain coarse language and other materials that may not be suitable for a younger audience. The opinions expressed in this audio are solely those of the speakers involved. These conversations may contain spoilers for current media such as games, comics, movies, television shows, and more. Grown Geeks makes no claim to ownership of the various media discussed, simply the opinions expressed. Listener discretion is advised.
What's going on, people? How y'all doing? This is Weigh-In Wednesday. We are Grown A Geek. You are awesome for being here. It's an interesting day. Wanted to do like a creator spotlight. Wanted to invite content creators, other than myself, to hop in and be a part of the show and go over some of the challenges and struggles that they've had in the past, some of the things they would like to do. As always, welcome to the stage, Jeff. What's up, man?
What's up? My bad for being a little bit late.
Nah, you're good. You're good. I am just getting all the little kinks worked out as I do. I've got a slightly different setup here. Let me just real quick exit out of my game. I've been playing Starfield on my Xbox. I love it. It's a fantastic game. For all the people who are Bethesda fans, it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game, and one that has me in a headlock right now. I can't. I find my free time is going to the game. But love video games. Always have. Probably always will. Especially if they continue like upgrading the way they are. I could not, for the life of me, recall if we had a specific theme for the show today. I did not think that we did. So since we did not have anything specific, I was like, oh, cool. Random geek chat. That's always fun. Hello. What is going on? You know what? I put out a call to content creators. So if you are available, you should hop on today rather than just, be the lurker. But we appreciate you being here nonetheless.
Where DJ Fat Snacks at?
Right. That's what I need. Let me hit him up because Mark always got something to say. And I was trying to get it out there, and let's see, there it is.
And I know we definitely gonna have to wait for David and Linda to talk One Piece because I watched the Netflix. I'm gonna be that guy on the show. I'm not going back to watch no more original stuff that's getting adapted. I'm only gonna watch the adaptation so I can be the weird person who doesn't understand why you guys were so mad at Halo. That's honestly one of my favorite episodes of the show because I was really just like, dang, am I high or do they really not like this? Because I've been enjoying myself watching the show. And then, we got into the adaptation conversation and talked about, how different it was from the game. And so me not knowing that, sometimes I'm just kind of like, maybe I'm okay with just letting the adaptation of the style that I like. And I think that works for me a lot for anime because we
Right.
kind of had those conversations about some of my issues with just like the formatting of anime, where it's like in some shows that are very popular, I've tried to get
What's up, Shane?
involved, but there's a little too much repetition for me. And so it's kind of like the last 10 minutes of this show is the first 10 minutes of the next episode, and then we tell the story. And it's like, if I'm trying to binge watch this, I'm like double watching the show. There's basically only 10 minutes per episode that I'm not seeing repeated. So for
Trying to
me,
get the
it just
fresh
kind of,
content switches up.
yeah, like I kind of like, that's why I tried to watch Naruto and I just fell off because I was just like, I was enjoying the story, but how it was paced. Like if somebody were to edit that show for binging, which means just like cut that like repetitive portion at the
Instead of
beginning
the
of the
22-minute
episode out.
episodes, make it like 16 minutes.
Or you know what? You know how they do
Combine
the
two to
like
give us a
previously
30-minute
on?
episode.
You know how they do like previously on?
Yeah.
And they'll like give you an option to skip that and just go right into the episode.
A 1-minute
Like they
recap
should,
with all new content.
but they should just do that for Naruto and like that first 5 minutes that they're repeating of the last episode. It's just like, are you starting
Honestly,
just today? Because if you're starting fresh today, okay, you can show it to me again. But if I'm binge and I'm in like episode 4, I'm going crazy.
You know what? That needs to be a thing, like a binge mode, like a viewing option when you sit down to watch something, a binge mode, and it's already kind of, like you said, edited, but just skip if it's the first 5 minutes of the episode, if it's the first 2 minutes of the episode. But a lot of time, hey, Robert, what's going on, man? Fresh invite out there for you because I know you've got a pretty popular channel. That's, if I'm not mistaken, was it your channel that just hit 500? Because YouTube just hit 500. So he could definitely come on and talk about the challenges of content creation and the joys of content creation because I thoroughly enjoy this show. I like doing this, and I don't know that doing this show outside of a live format would have the same effect. If it was episodic and scripted, I think it would take a little bit away. But I think what's really going to make this show pop is going to be, it's Weigh In Wednesdays. That's the name. So we may have to rebrand it, change the name a little bit, and find that popular time slot. I don't know that Wednesdays at 9, if this was network television, I tried to go on where we wouldn't be competing with anything. And so far, so good.
Nah, man, we straight. We
I mean,
gotta chase no algorithm. This when we do it, the people will come.
I am all about.
We just got to get them clips out.
Yeah. I am all about the consistency of what we have because I was looking and we're coming up on 2 years every Wednesday. Like, if you don't know nothing else, this show's gonna be on Wednesdays. You know what I'm saying? If you're just looking for something, it is what it is. Okay, no worries. Yeah, Jason said he did. Robert got the invite, but he gets off work a little late, so he wasn't able to hop in. But it's all good. The invite is still out, so if time permits, you know how we run on the show. So at any point, going back to an earlier comment, Auntie Tig does not think that she would be good, but this is just us. It's just a conversation. We're just talking. You can talk. You would do fine. Now, it is a live show.
I follow you on Instagram.
I was about to say, people may see you, so I know you got words. I know you got to talk. You can do this. I think you would be great. I'm inviting you on. Shane is actually watching this. One of our previous guests, she said she's going to swing by. And I was actually in a TikTok live the other day and had a conversation with a couple of great people in there. And of course, I just extended the invite out to them and was like, hey guys, if y'all aren't doing anything Wednesday, I'd love for you all to come on the show. And we talked about it for a little bit. Unfortunately, one of the person who hosted the live, he's not going to be available, but I did send the invite to the other people who were in the chat that day. So if they can make it by, they'll stop by. It'll be great. Yeah, I am going to save the One Piece for. We're waiting on, Linda's recovery. She had
Yeah, get well soon.
some surgery. Yeah, definitely extend the goodwill. Hearts and wishes, and she's got an Amazon wish list. So if you're not a part of the Grown A Geeks Facebook group, and you would like to just send a little care package, a little love her way, click that QR code there in the corner. That'll take you to the Facebook group. You can find it, and I will post a link here in the chat shortly. But yeah, man, just as I kind of look through and see some of the things that people do, of course, I try to be consistent with like sharing the group, and the group has gone through some changes and some transformations over the years, and I think what I've really come to understand is that for a long time, I think there was a misconception that Grown A Geeks is my group, air quoting that. I created the group, but it is obviously not my group. It is a collective of the people who are a part of the group. Like they decide what the group is. And when the group trends one direction, we go that direction. If it trends another way, we go that direction. I'm as much a member as anything. I enjoy the posts that come in the group. I don't sit and monitor every single post to be like, let's talk about this and this only. I post my content just like everybody else. And sometimes I post interesting topics. Sometimes it's just something I thought was funny and I want to share it. And as I go through with like the Twitch, I've just to have some additional content to kind of mix it up. I've been including the random Game Pass plays. I have Xbox Game Pass. I'm like pro Xbox. I'm not anti PlayStation. Let me just throw that out there because everybody's like, "Oh, you like Xbox?" I like them all. I'm a gamer.
It's the Batman Superman of the game.
Exactly. World. You know what I'm saying? And it's like if I like one, it doesn't mean I dislike the other. But it's funny because I feel like as a Superman fan, I don't when I talk to someone and they're like, if we're just having a conversation and they mention first that they're a Batman fan, I don't immediately come at them with the hate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, are you like Batman? Oh yeah, Batman sucks. Superman's my favorite. He's better.
Y'all should start doing that. It's like y'all not getting nothing out of this noble thing, okay? Y'all don't have to be Superman to be Superman fans.
But see, I was about to say that's not what Clark would want. You know what I'm saying?
Man, F Clark, he ain't out here.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like and I do think that's an interesting, phenomenon that happens because it's like if I'm talking to somebody and I mention I'm the Superman fan, boom, immediately it goes in how they are a Batman fan and Batman is better and I'm just like this is hilarious. Hey, that's what's up, man. Congratulations. Ring that bell. Shane finished up his chemo. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's fantastic to hear. Singe, what's going on, man? Yeah, let me throw a little love on that comment. That is fantastic to hear, man. Got Singe in the chat. First off, let me thank everybody who's here with us. We're talking content creation, but we are opening up the floor for all geek questions and comments. Whatever y'all want to talk about, it's a free night. You got a question, something you want us to discuss, something you want to talk? Hey, mention it. And yeah, that's coming from Jamie. What's up, Jamie? What's going on, girl? Jamie's been our guest before. She's a lot of fun. So if she wants to click that link and hop on in, she's always on her phone though. So, she'll be back and forth. We'll see what she does. But so we were playing with some of the different AI tools that are out there. And one of our recent videos we did a movie review on They Cloned Tyrone. And yeah, that's what's up, man. That's a major thing. My mom is actually going to be ringing the bell next week. She went to the doctor yesterday, I believe, and got all her clearance, and she goes back just for one last follow-up. There was some scar tissue from a surgery, and it was confusing the radiologists on the x-rays and whatnot. But yeah, she's going to get to ring the bell next week, and I'm so excited to hear that myself. So yeah, that's catching a special moment for me right now, if y'all can't tell. Shay told me about, and he mentioned that, and I was like, oh, yes. So I'm gonna go out and buy a pink shirt here. I'm surprisingly, my mom doesn't watch the show, so it'll still get to be a surprise for her. But I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out and buy a pink shirt just for her, and everything she's been getting, she's kind of been leaning heavy into that pink. So, um, yeah, we're all super excited about it. But we were playing. I was playing around with some of the different AI tools that are out there, and of course, I was looking for something that can kind of help with the editing because I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges a lot of content creators have. Because I have a whole book that I write anytime I think of a skit or something that's funny, anything that I think about I want to do, I just write it in my book, and I have everything that I want to put out there. I write it in the book so I keep up with it. My ADHD requires that I write it down because I'll forget in 10 minutes. So I go through my book and I see all these different things and I think about these great ideas, and I've even like recorded some stuff, but then it's like you have to make it a point to go back and you have to edit this and edit that. And I want it to look a certain way. I'm still like, I have this fantastic room with all of my cool stuff, and I just don't like the way it looks. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I want it to be neater and cleaner and more streamlined. And I keep adding stuff and I don't have anywhere to put that. And I got to find room for this. And so it's like, there's all these reasons in my head why it won't work, but it could work and it should. And I try to stay away and avoid that. So a lot of times I notice that like, it's not hard making the content. It just seems to be difficult sometimes getting the content out. And even something like I am learning all types of little things. So the background that we have today, I've been kind of working on brushing up my skills a little bit because I knew I wanted creator spotlight to be highlighted. I went in and blurred the background that people have probably seen before, because when we have free Greek, just the live Geek chat shows, that's the background that's used. But I wanted to blur that out to let the creator spotlight stand out. And, sitting there playing around with the tools to do that. I had it really cool and I had it arced over, but I couldn't get the background rectangle. Couldn't get that to arc. So that's why it's just going diagonal, because I could do that. And honestly, it's just, I be trying not to like waste Jeff time with simple shit. Like, he literally would have looked at that and click, 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 done. But he does so much other stuff.
I would have done that, and then you would have been able to save all your time and spend it doing one of your other ideas. And that's the hard part about being a creative. Sometimes it's, because I feel like we don't really put a lot of emphasis on like the creative arts, like in how we teach people, and people who have not taken a lot of like classes and time and don't have a lot of experience like working in the creative field, sometimes don't understand or don't really take to the idea of collaboration artistically, because a lot of times when you talk about the arts, whether it be music or like a video or whatever, there is kind of this public expectation like of auteurism, as in like the people who we hold in the highest regard tend to be the people who, do triple threats. You can sing, you can dance, you can act, or you're a singer-songwriter, like, right. Or you produce your own music, you sing all the vocals, you can play multiple instruments. That's why, people who love Prince sometimes will look at you like you crazy if you're like, I just like Michael Jackson more. Like, I respect the hell out of Prince. I like a lot of Prince music, but I'm a Michael Jackson guy when it comes to the music. And it's like, I don't care that 55 people had to put their hands on this song to make it amazing. The song is still amazing.
At the end of the day,
it took all 110 of those hands on that song to make it what it was. And the issue, I think that for me, it's like I have learned to judge the process separately from the product.
Okay.
Like the process can make me more intrigued about engaging with the art, but I don't give bonus points if your album is like an 85, but you like did everything yourself, and somebody else's album is like a 95 on my scale, if I were grading it, and they had 1,000 people working on it. Like I'm just gonna say the final product is better or more enjoyable to me. But I can speak about the process separately, and I can still be, enamored and awed by the fact that this person created this thing themselves or this way. Or, like for instance, there was a clip about Billie Eilish that was it was some show I forget, but they were showing how her and her brother Phineas like make their songs, right? I don't know if
Right.
anybody is familiar with like recording equipment, but when you are looking at a computer screen where recording when you're doing a recording, basically it's just like all these like it's these horizontal rows of bars that represent each track. So one row will be the trumpets, and it's like blah 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 blah. And every time the trumpets come up, there's like that thing is popping up, and then each one. So you have the drums, vocals, background vocals. However many times you stack vocals on top of vocals, everything is on that screen. And most times, there are things that get chopped up. You're talking about like samples, right? So what you'll see with that is a bunch of little lines where you're like chopping an original track to make it fit into the new structure or whatever, or however you're looping it or want to flip it or move it around. But most times when people are doing vocals, they're singing vocals at least like line by line, if not as close to straight through as possible. So you take a song like Whitney Houston's I'm Your Baby Tonight. She did that song in one take. That means she got on the track and sang that shit from top to bottom without stopping. They showed the thing with Billie Eilish, and she sings, she does about, I don't know how many different times she goes through and sings it, but they go into each one and chop in the best version from, if she sings the song 20 times straight through, they're taking different, they're basically reconstructing it using all 20 of those and taking the best moments that they like the most. And so
the same way they might edit film
every
or
other
something
word
like that. The best take from action to cut.
But it would be, but they're doing it on such a minute level. It would be like somebody taking this sentence that I'm saying right now, and every single word you're splicing in a different video of me saying that word better, as opposed to somebody who's just singing it
single sentence.
Yeah.
And it ends up sounding different as a result of how it's put together.
Exactly.
I mean, that's more advanced than auto-tune.
You can tell, but it doesn't matter, because if you didn't know that was happening, if you didn't know that that's what was happening, you would never tell when you listen to a Billie Eilish song. So am I supposed to, like, if we're talking about her as a vocalist, no, I'm not going to say she's on Beyonce's level, because I've seen Beyonce do it live. You know what I mean? Right. And not saying Billie can't do it live, but she's not going to do it live how Beyonce do it live.
Right. That's fair.
And Beyonce don't be doing that much splicing on her stuff. Yeah, they splice stuff together, they stack. But, like, she can sing it down live, and it's not a problem. But am I supposed to judge Billie Eilish's product harsher just because I peeked behind the curtain and saw that the wizard was a little old white man? Like, it don't matter. This thing was jumping.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that it should be critiqued. If nothing else, at the end of the day, you can still look at it and say that, like you said, the final product is what you're after, and the final product is what's impressive. The content that's put out is what people are looking for. Now, I don't think that comes up, and I don't think that's an issue until, say, for example, if you sit and you talk about like going to a concert where now she has to actually sing those songs in person
Yeah.
and perform them live. And people are like, it didn't sound the same as it does on the album. And admittedly, I don't know anybody, in fairness, I don't know anybody who sounds the way they do on the album. Because to your point earlier,
Beyonce.
well, I was going to say to your point earlier, Prince doesn't sound the way on the album as he does in concert. Because when he's performing, it is natural. It is whatever he's feeling in that moment. If he decides on the fly that he wants to change this part or change that part or do a solo right here because the music hit him or whatever the case may be, as opposed to what is being packaged and sold to you.
Right. Okay, because
And
when
I
you
think
say it don't sound the same, usually people say that because they mean they sound worse. But like they're doing different versions of the song. Yes, there's a ton of, like Michael Jackson songs. If you listen to, like, if you watch a live concert, you can go on YouTube and watch like live in Berlin, live in London or whatever. Man, them sounds fast as hell compared to the way that they are on the album. But another part of me, it's like 10 BPMs faster.
I've been to a Michael Jackson concert, and let me tell you.
Yeah, okay. I forgot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like you got to go to a Beyonce concert. I'm like, oh, that was a good concert? I hear that's the shit. I've been to a Michael Jackson, and it's like, different times, different eras, different artists. But from what I understand, it's like almost on that level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because there's everything to it.
Yeah.
Like there's the production, there's the choreography, and this and the other. But at the end of the day, people are coming for a show. The singing is a part of it. And it's always weird to me, like, I don't know, I've grew up in an area where, like, back in the day, if you go back and you watch something like, 5 Heartbeats or the New Edition story, or hell, go back and watch the Temptations. Like, you had to have a couple of moves to go with your song because you had to put on a show. Now, maybe one person
depends on who you were.
Maybe one person could get out there with a microphone, stand there, not move, and just sing. But they had that voice that could carry that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it kind of felt like if you weren't that person, you might fill in 30 minutes of choreography. And so now it's like, okay, we can understand why you're not singing every song and there's a track playing because you're doing all this dancing and it's hard to breathe. So when you see somebody that can actually get out there, do all of the singing and the dancing and still breathe and put that, it does step it up. And so, it's like those times that you would see Prince at a piano and he would go into the next song. And when he would sing, because he was right there in that moment, it sounded amazing. But it doesn't sound like the album. And not better, not worse. It's just different because it is a live performance. Even when you think like back in the day when MTV used to actually play music, they had a show, MTV Unplugged. Exactly. And people would come in and you would see people come in, they would bring a guitar and it'd be acoustic versions, you know what I'm saying? Or it'd be acapellas and they would literally just sing. Not everybody makes it to that show. What's up?
I got a question. Who, like, modern artists, like if they said, Sam, we bringing back Unplugged and we're doing 10 episodes.
Ooh, okay.
What's your slate?
10 episodes.
And mind you, this is not just like, oh, I'm Sam, I want to hear these people. This is like you need to put viewers, like we need to go viral. We need to chart with like these new versions when they get released on Apple Music the next day exclusively, because Apple Music gave us $1 billion for the exclusive rights.
So I would say some of the people that come to mind instantly, just as far as like, I know they have the voice and the vocal talent. Beyonce, Rihanna, Adele, Janelle Monáe. Mars. Is this an all-time list or is it just current people?
Wait, say that again. You said Beyonce, Rihanna,
Beyonce, Rihanna,
Adele, Janelle.
Janelle Monáe.
1, 2, 3. That's 4. Bruno.
No, not Bruno Mars. It's a female R&B artist named Mars.
Oh, Marzz.
ZZ. Yeah.
She got like braids. She got like 2 big.
Yeah.
It's like a blue album cover.
That girl can sing.
Yeah, she can sing. She can sing,
like,
sing.
You're right. Like she can sing. So I would absolutely put her on there. And honestly, I think if we're, in the context of remixes, yeah, we probably could. We would. I think a Bruno Mars episode. Actually, it would be Silk Sonic. I would put Silk Sonic on there. I think Anderson .Paak live with his gritty tone. I think that would go over really well over an acapella of Bruno Mars. And like real artists as far as like the instruments and stuff. So I think that would work out well.
So you got 6. Yeah, Beyonce.
I would probably
Adele,
have to research
Janelle.
a little bit more. Maybe Jordan Ward. Because see, the first thing my mind was like, I immediately want to go to like some hip hop and whatnot, but it's just like I'm trying to think like male R&B. I'm a bit more of a fan of female R&B artists over the male R&B, so I would let the creative team help me bring in more male R&B artists. I could put 6 up there. Round me out. Who did I miss, or who would we take off of my slate?
All right, I'm still thinking through my slate a little bit because I want it to be a nice balance of current and like kind of not. I don't want to call them nostalgia acts, but essentially nostalgia acts, like people who this would be
still tour, but like set the foundation.
Not even that. Just like these are the kinds of groups that if MTV still did it when they were popping for real, they would have gotten it eventually.
Then I would have to have Alicia Keys on there.
She has one, I thought.
She does, but I mean, like it's still Alicia Keys. Put her in front of a piano and let her sing.
You're gonna lose a lot of viewers with that one. I'll tell you that right now.
You think so? They still upset?
We'll see. Maybe they'll come back next week for who you got after that. You got to go with somebody big after that.
Well, I mean, the scheduling, I don't think we can open with Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right. So you can have. But then you're gonna run into a problem because now you got Beyonce and Rihanna. So you're gonna have one of them open and then the other one close. I mean, it's like we all know, but I feel like it's one of those things that's better left unspoken.
Right. We'll end the season. We'll end the season high. Get the bag. There's a good one. Thank you. See, that's all I need. Just some suggestions. I can see that. Ed Sheeran. How do I feel about that? Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, you got Middle America back with you.
Yeah. I think. Actually, who sings it? Almost want to like throw in not really indie artists, but like some smaller names to round out, but like the people that they really, really can sing. I'm trying to think. It's like, do we bring a Billie Eilish on for this? Because I mean, it's definitely that's butts in the seats. You know what I'm saying? If they know they're coming on the show, I think they only come on under the context that they can handle the pressure of being on the show and performing at that level. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're going to be the musical guest for a show, unless you're going to pull an Ashley Simpson and be jigging in the middle of the stage, you know,
Right.
you got to kind of know what's what. I would probably have to like pull up my phone and look through like one or two of my playlists to find somebody else, because everybody else that comes to mind, like I said, it's a little bit of a hybrid, or it's hip hop. It doesn't have the vocal element, so I don't know how that would do on an unplugged setting. But I'm thinking somebody like a Thundercat who does a little bit of that singing. So, and with all of the instruments that are being played and whatnot, but he's got unique vocals, and I think it could work out.
So Thundercat, I've seen him a few times, and I'm gonna tell you this: you want to talk about not sounding like what the record sounds like? It's like for real. Like every song, there's like an acid jazz fusion like solo in the middle of almost every song. Every time I've seen him, I feel like he's done like 5 or 6 songs, because every song he extends to like 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, Pharrell. That's an interesting. I don't know how I feel about Pharrell live though, to be honest with you. I feel like Pharrell is great at production. I've never seen Pharrell in a live setting to say. I'm like, but I mean, honestly, admittedly, I would want like some, I don't know, maybe JID.
Okay. So you want to replace Thundercat with Jid?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how J. Cole is going to feel about that. Not that I would be advocating for him.
I put J. Cole more in that, like I don't see him as a singer. I don't see him in the category of. It's like, well, hell, if that's.
But you never seen you don't watch like LL Cool J's Unplugged? No. Like that was kind of, for some of them, that was like the point. It was like, let's hear these songs like reimagined. That's why the Nirvana Unplugged was so crazy, because it was like all the songs like stripped down, and you really could hear like how good of a singer Kurt Cobain was.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the first one that comes to mind. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you strip it down to the acoustics and whatnot, but it's like even with J. Cole, it's still like hip hop, and it's just gonna be like watching somebody battle rap nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, I'm just like, I don't.
Google. You should watch the unplugged version of "Mama Said Knock You Out." It thumps, and it's all like acoustic instruments. But we don't have to pull it up now. It's also an iconic video because LL Cool J is like basically LL Cool J and the entire band is like shirtless, and he has like the little deodorant balls in his underarms.
I mean, it's real, right? It's real.
It's like, I appreciate the consideration. I know I know you're a person who's hygienic.
Hey.
All right. This is your 10: Beyonce, Rihanna, Adele, Janelle Monáe, Mars, Silk Sonic, Jordan Ward, Alicia Keys, Ed Sheeran, Jid. Not in that era.
Not in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go through and do mine.
And I mean, there were other like honorable mentions, and maybe we'll get these people on like season 2 or whatnot. But it's like that's hard to follow. But if we're bringing the show back, we got to get people interested, get people watching the show. But I mean, obviously, people like like let's see SZA, let's see her. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I don't want to flood it.
But let me give mine, because you gonna just
women. Okay. That's my 10. That's my 10. I got you.
All right, week 1, I'm coming with Drake.
But Drake doesn't write his own stuff.
I don't care. That was the point. That's the perfect environment for him. He also plays the piano, so he gonna want to play and sing on the show. I feel like whatever this Drake character that he's playing is, would relish at the opportunity to like do an unplug, small something like that, and create something iconic. Number 2, Missy. I feel like the balance of hip hop and singing, and I know like she's gonna flip some of those versions, and she's a musical genius.
Yeah.
You could bring
I
in,
immediately started imagining the way she would perform some of that stuff. Like I Can't Stop the Rain. I would love to see the Missy remix of that, and instead of it being hip hop, go more like pop vocal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or pop R, like lean more into the R&B side of it.
I mean, or even just like the live way that she would create like the that Tina Turner sample of having a live background singer singing it versus it being a track. You know what I mean? I think, so, and plus I feel like she's just like an iconic artist that does not really get her due, because a lot of the avenues like this that would have sustained keeping her in the forefront of the public eye just like disappeared. Like she was always on the VMAs. She always had great music videos. So she was always on TRL and 106 and Park. And like once the music video like medium kind of dried up in terms of television, I feel like it just took away some of the like focus on her.
Video killed the radio star, and short form content killed music videos.
Yeah. All right. So then I had a megastar. I have, a legend. I do want to go like more current. And I'm just going to go straight with Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's been doing the thing of a lot of collaboration. He's been doing the thing of he's kind of bounced from collab to collab, and now he's in the public forefront. He's won the Grammys. He's in there. Now it's time to like really thrust him onto the national stage, national spotlight. Maybe Bruno can slide through and they can do the Silk Sonic joint. But if he doesn't, he has enough stuff between his own stuff and his stuff with No Worries to like do a 1 hour unplugged easily. I've seen him live. He's incredible live. See him play the drum. Once America really gets to see him play the drums for real, his own stuff on that platform, they're gonna fall in love with him. They're gonna fall in love with his personality. He's super funny. So, yeah.
I mean, all right. I like that. I like because you see, even when I brought Bruno, I wasn't going to bring Bruno without bringing Anderson .Paak. And who did I talk about? Anderson .Paak. So I love that idea. I'm with you there.
Okay. So this is when you get into like I'm kind of trying to keep this like balance of like current major person, legend, and then new person. So even if you don't like the third week, you're gonna come back for whoever's on the next week. So in the next slot, I'm still working through like who some of my big people are. But I think in my next slot for my major heavy hitter, I'm going Usher.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. I could
just because like see that. He's still he kind of is on that he's kind of in that like that zone where it's like he's still making stuff, but he's on that fine line of legend, but he always just like stay in the news.
Yeah.
All right. So next, I'm going with the group that is very, very well known for doing a very popular unplug, but they were the backing band to another artist. And I feel like they are the preeminent band in hip hop. They keep the unplugged thing alive just on a day-to-day basis. And they did not get a chance to use that platform to actually showcase their own music. And I think that The Roots are long deserving of something of recognition like this and space like this, because people really need to know, like, not that there's any shame in them being Jimmy Fallon's band, but like they made real hip hop and they made stuff that people, different lyricists, real artists like respect their music. There's a reason why Jay-Z went to them. Questlove is a genius. Black Thought is a lyrical genius. And I just feel like,
as soon as you said hip hop band, I was like, I don't know. You saw the smile. I was like, oh hell yeah, that's a good thing.
Because I also don't want this to turn into a thing where everybody trying to call the Roots and get them to back them up for their show, and then it just happens again and again. It's like, no, they could
let them stand alone.
Frankly, I would want to hire Questlove to be the musical director for the entire like show, even if he's not playing on every episode. But like, they as a band deserve a space and time to showcase their own music on that large of a platform. All right, so now we need a newer person, someone more current. I definitely want to go with a female artist, a woman artist. I was thinking, so basically it's between 3 different artists to me. And really, it boils down to the one that I feel like would take the opportunity and really like show herself to America and the world, frankly. Just, and she's done it. She's been on the Grammy stage, but it's kind of like one of those things where seeing people do extended sets changes how you feel about them much more than just like watching them do one song. You know what I mean? And I think so. I'm gonna have it be her because I just feel like, so the 3 artists was her, SZA, and Summer Walker.
Right.
Summer Walker's music is probably overall my favorite of the 3.
Okay.
But I'm not so sure about the live performance aspect. She has improved, she has grown, but she might be season 2 artist. SZA is an artist that like I've seen her perform. I don't know if it's there for like unplugged. Like, I think on shows where she can do more conceptual stage work and things like that, she's a much more compelling artist in that way. But I don't know about, I've seen some stripped down things of her sitting on the stool in the backyard and singing, and it's been cool, but it didn't move me like the others. But her, she has everything, but it's almost like, sometimes I wonder if because when she came out, it was like the hiding behind the sunglasses and the hair thing was just like, because she's incredibly beautiful. Like, if you watch, she has a song with Anderson .Paak, Where I Go, which was my most listened to song of last year. Yeah. And it's kind of like, you see her in that video and she's kind of like, I feel like she kind of came out of her shell in that video. The way she was styled was really dope. Seeing her face, seeing her be loose, you know what I mean? Not high, not behind the guitar, not behind the piano, not behind the drum set, just like out loose, having fun, having a good time, being like a very, very fly girl. I feel like this would be a great thing that would take her to like that next level where people could like see her face and recognize her face. Because she also has a recognizable voice already. All right. Next heavy hitter. Because I have 5. No, Missy's a female. So I want to go with another female act.
Okay.
It needs to be big time. And I think it needs to kind of cross over a little. Just, you know how I would do this, but you know what the suits are going to say. So,
This is MTV. I'm gonna just say that it's MTV.
Yeah, it's MTV. Not NTV, MTV. So I kind of would do something where this is an artist who would have been bigger if the actually no. I know who I'm gonna do now.
Okay.
Ariana Grande.
I like it. Okay.
Because so many of her songs, like she has some songs that are like very stripped down and slow. She has upbeat songs, but they are all like very produced. She has she has an incredible voice. And I think that stripping it down a little bit, you know, softening it up a little bit, underproducing it a little bit, I think it'll show a different side of her in a way that will make people hmm, that will make people really maybe see even her pop music differently. You know what I mean? Because I feel
Okay.
like you hear how overproduced some of the pop music is, and it's like, oof, I get it. But then you listen to an album like Sweetener, where she has more R&B producers producing for her. So like Pharrell's producing on the album, Missy's producing on the album. They get her to sing her lower register more. So it's just a different feel. All right. Next up, this is my, my legend who didn't get their chance to do something like this, but definitely would have. She's known as the vocal Bible by many people, Brandy.
Okay.
And I just feel like, she has, amazing songs. She's one of my favorite singers. She was my childhood crush. She was one of the reasons why I hated Kobe Bryant most of my life. So, I definitely think seeing her and giving some just due to some of the like later stuff too that was really good and kind of ahead of its time, but people just didn't like latch onto it because she was kind of out of the limelight, or people had kind of like moved on, I guess. So yeah, I think that's my number. That's my episode 8, my third like legend. And then
Okay.
you link in eras where you got Missy, Usher, The Roots, Brandy, but we still keeping it current. So then this is the one where I kind of wanted to be like, who's like next, right? And I haven't done really that. I mean, I have Drake and The Roots and Misty for hip hop, Anderson Paak a little bit too. Um,
The only
Not
thing I
that
didn't have on my
young.
list. I mean, I've got some others, but like it was the butts in the seats part that kind of I think I won't say
Oh
misdirected,
yeah.
but it's like for that first season because I would absolutely touch into neo soul. I would touch into some of the alternative pop, um, like just some of the stuff I got in my playlist is like folks ain't nobody ever heard of, but I'm like I love their music, um,
Oh, for
and
sure.
so there's a couple of well I'm already working on my season 2 now.
Oh, for
I done pulled
sure.
up my phone and started playing with my playlist. I'm like, oh wait, oh that person, oh yeah, that person. Because again, I think it comes back to, a couple people who have the vocal capability to do a show like this, um,
But see, to
and
me too, it
are
doesn't even, and that's
capable.
going. Yeah, go ahead. It's my bad.
I was gonna say, and are capable of almost like being fluid enough to do something different. You know what I'm saying? Like, does the talent stand enough on its own to support them if they go this way versus that way? Because I think about people like Lil Wayne, for example, and there are people who argue you down that Lil Wayne is one of the greatest lyricists ever. Like, that's it. It stops with Wayne. Wayne is the best. And then it's like his lyrical capability don't translate to this genre of music when he decided to do that. It didn't work. It doesn't go with that. So if you put him in a setting, I mean, granted, this just hypothetical, but if you put him in a setting or something like this, he's all for it. Hell yeah, he wants to do it. I don't know that
I
comes
think
out.
you're underestimating Wheezy. It just depends
it,
on the band. It depends on the musical director, the person who's gonna be able to put you in a position and get the best out of you. Because it's like, as long as if you got hits, it's not gonna be as hard as some people where it's like I'm making an impression. It's like I can bring my hits out. You hearing my hits in a new way. I'm hearing my hits in a new way. Like I just went to a show the other night in Mobile, Alabama, Currency. And he's like a very laid back, a lot of 808s in his music and stuff like that. He did a show with a live band, and it was tight because it's like the band was on point. They were following, he was a good conductor of the band. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times when you're doing music, right? Like the way the singer sings will inform the band on how to swell
what we're doing next, where we're going.
Yeah, are we taking it up? Are we opening it up? Are we quieting it down and stuff like that? You can follow the cues musically because like what the singer is doing is very much in line with what you're doing, and it's a song you've heard before, and it was produced that way. A lot of rap songs, the beat is straight through, but when you're playing with live instrumentation, you still want to hear the highs, the lows. You still want that same interaction because that's how you're used to. But you're not used to hearing a live band just play a beat just straight through with no variation. So when bands do that with hip hop artists, it sounds bad. Like you have to arrange it for a live band, not just try to recreate the beat with live instruments.
I think if you get some of these people out here, you know what I'm saying, you get Rage Against the Machine out here to be the band one day. You get 9 Inch Nails to be the band one day. You get Korn to be the band one day. You get I absolutely can see some of this stuff working really well just in terms of mashup because of the capabilities of some bands. And I'm not taking anything away from Weezy in terms of his artistry and his capability. And that's why I use him as an example. But I guess the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of like Unplugged, I look at it more in terms of the breaking it down to the vocals, not having all of the extra, all of the production surrounding the music. I always look at Unplugged as being more about breaking it down to the music. Now, I've heard, ironically, there's one album when it came out that was the album. You know what I'm saying? And it was like they didn't have a miss on that entire album. Whole album. Every track was fire. It was so good, they re-released that album with nothing but remixes of all of those songs. And it was like one song had 4 remixes. You know what I'm saying? And this is a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? But like I can see the mashups and I can see reproducing the songs, or it's like when you have a good song and then you have this producer remix and this producer remix, because people come in, they like the song, they hear it, and they're like, oh yeah, like I want to produce a version of that song. And you get something different out of the artist when they have different production, because the producer can hear it differently in their head. And now the artist, like you said, they can then bring it out of the artist to give them that. So having a good musical director, no question. And I think if you get the right people, you match them up correctly. I think Rage Against the Machine and Lil Wayne, I'd go to that concert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Who else you got on the list?
All right, so I got Drake, Missy, Anderson .Paak, Usher, The Roots, Her, Ariana Grande, Brandy, and Tyler the Creator is my 9th.
You going full hip hop. Okay.
I mean, not if you listen to the last few albums. I mean,
oh no, I get it. Call Me When You Get Lost is damn near an R&B album.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like he has options. He could just do all of that on the show, or he can.
I mean, he can do
choose
Igor.
what
He can do Call Me like you said, the last 2-3 albums. Last 2-3 albums, it has enough alone to do it.
And I think I also am picking people who I know would like create. We could create something visually as well that would be appealing. With you know what I mean, like they're not gonna be afraid to let the show be a canvas. And so my final person is, the queen of that, the ultimate at that. And I think it's somebody who kind of is, when we talk about where people try to question their artistry because so many people are involved and so many people touch their music before it comes out, that putting them in a situation where we're going to strip it down. It might just be a guitar the whole show, but you're going to hear these vocals and you're going to respect what she do vocally. You don't have to like all the music. You don't have to like all the content. But what you're not going to talk about is she ain't singing. That's Beyonce. She's singing. The microphone's on.
Mic is on.
She'll sit on the piano. She'll sit on the stool. And she'll, she might not even do Beyonce song. You want to come on MC Unplugged and just do jazz standards all night? Let's do
covers.
Sing whatever you want to sing. And just, a t-shirt and some stonewashed jeans, barefoot.
I don't know about barefoot, but no, I'm with you.
On a rug.
And see, and honestly, that would be the kind of that's the show that I picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, just this breakdown, strip away the production. And I think about the people who would come, like the bands would come and they would have like a single snare. But
it's like it's like levels to Unplugged, right? So you can do Unplugged like me and a guitar. You can do Unplugged like we usually play electric guitar, but I'm playing, acoustic guitar, and it's like a 4-piece band. You can do Unplugged. I think in the Mariah Carey when she had like a 4-piece like orchestra accompanying like the rest of the regular band. So I see something like that for like Ariana Grande, where it's like, let's make her music feel beautiful and sweeping and let her sing on top of that. Because like there's a Tiny Desk, which, is basically our generation's Unplugged. Right. Snow Allegra, who's, she's one of my favorite like current R&B singers. And she has like an orchestra with, the traditional band. And it just adds like an element. Plus, background singers. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a whole thing.
I will let you direct all of the episodes that are the reimaginings. I will be in charge of the breakdown episodes. Like if they strip it down to like one, just a piano and a singer, a guitar and a singer, that I'll direct those episodes because those are the ones that's where my brain goes. All that other great artistic, creative stuff, I'm gonna leave it to the creative person. Like the way,
and that's where this whole conversation started. That goes content also for thumbnails.
Exactly. and it's because again, it's like I after hearing some of the things that you said and suggested, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that opens up the door for a ton of other artists that I think would do well. And just, like I was struggling just to think about like the male R&B category of who we're going to get in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who can we bring in that's going to present something different? You mentioned Usher. I'm thinking like Usher it's not that first of all, none of these people need it, especially not our season 1 guests. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody there needs this to catapult. You have the people all of your current artists were big enough names, I think, where it sells themselves. Um, and you had your legends, and you know what I'm saying, you had people who were going to sell the episode regardless. You know what I'm saying? I'm pulling in, and just in my head, the way I'm seeing it, I'm pulling in the people who are going to, I won't say sustain the quality of the show, but they're gonna put it in a way that the standard of, oh, are they going on MTV Unplugged? Oh, I got to see this, because now you know that the people who have been on season one, you heard them.
Yeah. And I
So if
think
you
it's just
showing
like
up for season two, you might find yourself Showtime at the Apollo getting cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get up there if you can't do it.
yeah.
And so, and that's kind of the standard that I'm putting in my head. But looking at the way you've presented it and suggested it, I'm like, wow, that's fucking genius. Yes, if we do that, then oh, sky's the limit. We have tons of people we can bring on then. Not and
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, unplugged. I think yeah, that's the, and I think that goes back to what we were talking about in terms of like when you have. I feel like you're like a creative in like not in hiding, but like you have like a creativeness that lies within you, but because you didn't take like super creative path in terms of like education and stuff like that, a lot of
it's
people I feel like who are creative and don't like
it's a
learn
sapling that
through
never
those
grew.
things. Right. And
It's a little
I think
sapling that didn't blossom.
well, it's a sapling that didn't grow because it thinks
It
it
didn't get
just
watered.
needs to be right, and
I
sunlight
didn't.
and
Yeah, I
carbon
didn't go
dioxide,
that
like
path.
all like there's, but it's not even that. It's like what I'm saying is when you study like in creative fields, you learn that like on your own, you'll never like get there. Like you're always going to become a better artist when you collaborate with other, learn how to collaborate with other people. You learn from other people. Um, and I think like going back to what we were talking about in the auteur conversation, because a lot of people look at people like auteurs all the time who are not, like it creates this idea for people who want to be creative but haven't like done it for a long time. It creates this attitude of like, well, everybody else is just out there getting it and doing it all by themselves, so I got to do it all by myself. And it's like nobody's doing it all by themselves. Like
Right.
they should at least they showing the video to somebody first to be like, what do you think about this? Somebody's retweeting you, like, you're not doing it all by yourself.
It's
And nobody
funny you
who's
say
doing
that.
it at and nobody who's doing it at a high level is doing it all by themselves. There's so that and it's not like, and it's something that like because I work through this in like actual classes with discipline and stuff, it was something I had to break too. I was very much a like, I'm I'm the only person who I really hang out with that really like draws, except for a couple kids at school. So when I'm drawing, it's really like me. It's not like I'm coming home and my grandmother is like, "Here, do this," blah blah blah. Like I'm literally like, okay, if I can catch Bob Ross on PBS, like that's about it. I don't have people giving me like all these Stan Lee videos where he's interviewing Jim Lee and all the comic book masters and learning how stuff is done, and I don't have the right materials. I'm just winging it. And then you get in a
Right.
scenario where it's like, no, like you're not supposed to just like wing it. You have to use the world around you because that's what content creation is, right? You are that's the world is a creation. We are creating. You cannot do that like in any sort of vacuum.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? And
I
so
mean,
I think a lot
the,
of times when you get into ventures like this, like I find myself having to tell people like, no, like the reason why I'm not going to be bothered by it is because it's going to take me 10 minutes. And I feel like I listen to people that are like, yeah, it'll only take him like 10 minutes, so I don't want to bother him with it. If you're giving me something that's going to take me 10 minutes, it's not bothering me. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of, when I think that's just like it's not annoying to be like, yo, what do you think of this? Because that's what happens in the creative space, right? Like even at my last job, when you're working in a room full of graphic artists, it's like the worst graphic artists are the ones who don't ever talk to anybody or don't ever like ask people for their opinion on stuff. Those
They just
are
turn that
always
project in, and it
the worst
always has to
ones.
be revised over and over and over.
Right.
Whereas if they had talked to somebody, somebody could have caught one or two things. Now, I will say, like, even with what I have today, and this is the double edged sword there. On the one hand, I like doing the cards because it gives me it's like forcing an opportunity to practice.
Right.
And if you look at where I'm at now versus where I started, I actually feel like I'm coming along. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm there by any means, but I have something presentable.
Yeah.
And there's a certain consistency and a certain pattern that's being developed. And even when I just go and look, I just kind of like scroll. Okay, stop it. I got to start scrolling back up because I don't have cards for those. And it's like, all of these are good. And so it's like little things like my image selection, the PNGs that I choose to use, does it convey the message that I want to convey? Finding the right image. In some cases, I can't always create that image. So I have to think like, okay, what's close? What's going to show people? And you say like sometimes just showing it to somebody. I got another buddy. It's what he does. And so I'd be like, look at this. And he'd be like, well, and usually what I do is I'll make it, I'll send it, be like, what is this show about? You know what I'm saying? And try to see if he can see from the image. And if he can pick it up, then cool. You know what I'm saying? That tells me that it's conveyed what I wanted to convey. And so that's why sometimes I'd be like, when I present it to you, I'd be like, what you think of that? That's good. You like that? That's good. You know what I'm saying? Because I've already gotten like not really a pat on the back, but one person's approval, and they know where I started and where I am, and so again, it would be one of those things. It would take him 10 minutes. It would take you 10 minutes. I want it to take me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so,
But see,
and
here's the
that's the
thing
thing.
about that, right? Here's the thing, right? You have you're like we're kindred spirits in the fact that like we both have like a lot of interests creatively that all take a lot of time, all take a lot of minutes. Like I'm literally like working on graphics right now as we speak, or every week I'm like I'm drawing while we're talking. I'm multitasking. I'm always like working on some sort of like graphic, but definitely keep working on it for sure. But a lot of people also, I'm not saying you're doing this. Like I would tell, like when I would be at my job and they'd be like, "Man, you do your sketches so fast," and I'm just like, "Yeah," because I literally like did it every day for like I did it every day, 8 hours a day, like it was a job before I got my first job. Like the summer after I graduated from college, I just spent all day on the computer, like learning how to like do all my sketches, put presentations together, do all this stuff that like I knew I was going to have to know how to do. Now, when I get into the job, they're going to have the way that they do things, and that's fine. My big thing was learning the computer programs. So it wasn't about the final product. It was just about like, can I do everything that I need to do if they hand me something to say I want this to look like this? Can I do what I need to do in this computer program to make it happen? Do I know which computer program to use to make it
The
the
difference
easiest way?
between
Because
Photoshop and Lightroom, you know what I'm saying?
and Illustrator and
Yeah.
InDesign and all that stuff. So, I think definitely keep practicing. Definitely, give yourself challenging things. As much as it's frowned upon, this is for learning. So copy something. Like you see a graphic, there's a lot of great tutorials out there that's like, I want to learn how to make Chrome letters. That's what I do. I don't know how to make Chrome letters in Photoshop off the top of my head. Every time I need to make Chrome letters, I Google making Chrome letters. I have one that I've used a bunch of times, so it comes up first, and I just follow through on the steps.
Okay.
But the thing is, when I wanted to make chrome letters, I knew I need to do that in Photoshop and not Illustrator. So I'm not, wasting any time.
Having a basis for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was what happens a lot of times, and this is the most challenging thing. I have I can see things here. I just have difficulty getting them here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure these are two muscles that aren't trained to work together. And it's that 8 hours a day training you talked about that I haven't put in. So, I absolutely respect a lot of what I see in, artists that I follow and the artwork that I see other people do. I look I look for your day, like you talked about Instagram. I look to see what you drew today. I look for your daily sketches. You know what I'm saying? And one of the other things I like is I like the stories behind the sketches. You know what I'm saying? I know it sounds really silly, but it's like whenever you have a creative spark and this is going to be the theme, like for this week, I'm drawing
Mm-hmm.
these things, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you recently went to a concert. So this week's drawings are concert inspired, or it's the costume changes, and then it's not just one person it's other people at their you know what I'm saying? And it's like those iconic moments and things like that. So it was like seeing 2-3 Beyonce, seeing the Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? It's like the fact that there's a theme with it. There's another artist, his name Marcus Williams. My man writes
Yeah,
like a
he's
whole
incredible.
he writes like a whole story with every picture. And it's like I look for the story as much as I do the picture. The pictures are cool. You know what I'm saying? He does got a chance to meet him this year at MomoCon, and he is like I guess the proper term, I don't want to misspeak, but he's like the official artist. He does like the graphics for like MomoCon. That's some of
That's
That's his artwork there. You
yeah.
can find he's got some stuff. Tuskegee Airs. There was another one. Name
He's
escapes me
one
at
of
the
my
moment.
favorite. He's one of my favorite artists that I follow on Instagram. I had to stop looking at his stuff for a little while because it was giving me a complex. Because I wasn't able to put the time and the energy into drawing that I needed to get anywhere near that level. It's the same, it's the same thing. It's like even though they're both creative, like making graphics all day does not help you keep your illustration skills brushed up
Right.
on. So it was definitely for me one of those things where it was like, you know, I'm never gonna get that good because I'm never gonna have the time to dedicate to it. But I have more time now. I feel like my stuff's getting better, but it's just really about expressing something. And I think that's the reason why, those stories come, or for me, it's kind of like themes is what really inspires me. Like when I find a theme or a series that I can latch onto, because I feel like just my art is just all about making connections between things that maybe people otherwise would not connect to. So
Okay.
when I'm making actual stuff, a lot of times I'm just looking for something visually that I can try to reproduce. I'm testing a different technique, different mediums,
Right.
just warming up and getting my arm loose and my hand and my eyes locked in so they're on the same page. But
And it
I've
has been
been
interesting
working.
sometimes to see the um like the 30-minute warm-up sketch, the 2-hour sketch, or if you
Yeah,
go back and you finish up after the 30-minute sketch, you ink and color. That 30-minute sketch now gets inked and colored. Just seeing the difference between this was quickly thrown together, this has time and care put into it, and then the final product, if you took a day or two to just work on it, looking at that final product, and it's just like for those of us who don't have that skill and haven't taken the time to perfect that craft that way, it is mind blowing to see that. And it's always going to probably be mind blowing to see people who can do that at the level that you do. So kudos. And I look for the dailies.
Yeah, I
part
haven't
of my
been posting
story.
as many dailies just because I've been working. So I actually have an art show that I'm going to be in at the end of the month. I was actually meant to send you the flyer tonight so we could talk. So you could I could plug it at the end. But we're doing an art show that's based around Spike Lee movies. So
Right.
everybody's doing pieces inspired by different Spike Lee films, and
I
yeah,
actually remember. I saw that on your Instagram. That's is it the
yeah,
29th?
yes, that weekend.
Now, which day
So
are you? Because I saw there was like different days we had different events scheduled. It was like a 4-day event, correct?
yeah, it's gonna be 3 days. So the first night is gonna be like friends and family night. So it's gonna be like an invite thing for people who are friends and family slash anybody who's really interested in like buying art and coming getting first come first serve dibs on purchasing any of the art that we're doing. We definitely are gonna have people out there for that. But I'm trying to find the flyer right now. But yeah, and then Saturday it'll just be open to the public. So I think that'll be from like 6 to 11. And then Sunday we're doing an artist talk, where we'll have a panel and there'll be a moderator. So if you're interested in hearing, I guess, about the process and the thoughts behind the art, why the artist made certain choices, Sunday would be something to come to for sure. Um, but yeah, I haven't been posting as many dailies because, and the dailies have been like quicker. They've been all like marker sketches because I'm just like loosening up because some of the stuff that I've been doing is very involved for me, and I'm doing a lot of faces and likeness, and really want to make sure that like I'm capturing the likeness technically, but also making the connections that I want to make visually. So really,
Like,
one of
can
the, I
you
mean, one
tell
of the
who this person is when you look at it?
right, and
Okay.
that's important. And beyond just being like, well, they're wearing the outfit, but the face don't really look like the face. You know what I mean? Like I did a Denzel piece for
Was it Mo Better?
from Mo Better Blues, and it looks like Denzel, and I'm happy about that. I'm doing, all the faces that I've done thus far,
I mean,
not perfect, but
your
like
Shuttleworth,
none
your
of it is
Shuttleworth
bad.
looked like it was a little angle was a
Oh,
little
Jake,
different. Yeah,
yeah,
you know. So I mean, I'm now able to see. You did one recently that Michael Jackson. That's
yeah,
spot on. You know,
yeah.
and I don't know if
So,
something like that is easier versus.
uh, so it's like with stuff like that, and like some of the Beyonce stuff that I've been doing. Some of that's easier just because they were wearing big sunglasses. So, it's that's actually one of those like comic book secrets, like helmets, like visors, glasses. It just makes it so much faster to draw characters because you're
Less
drawing
facial
shapes and
features.
shadowing. Yeah, and it's like then you get into kind of that, everybody is just like broad chin white man, and so but this one has black hair. It's kind of the same thing in anime where it's like all these girls have the same face, but this one has blue eyes, this one has green eyes, this one has pink hair, this one has purple hair, this one has an updo, this one has a ponytail.
There was something I read recently that said the reason characters look the way they do in anime is they're all cats. And there was a comparison. There was a comparison that goes to say, like, because of course, you know, and that's actually a side topic. We'll come back to that. But yeah, it's apparently they all look like cats. And it has something to do even with like the way the nose is shaped. And I'm getting your artist's opinion because I
mean, I like if you're gonna tell me that like they base their like kind of human drawings off of cat-like features, I mean, I guess
I'll see if I can.
But I feel like it's weird because it's also like they don't draw everybody with cat eyes. Like they have like human eyes that are just like oversized. I get the nose thing. I mean, I feel like it's really more about just like Eurocentric, globalized standards of beauty, but we don't have to. We don't necessarily have to get into all that this evening. I just think like
maybe we'll park that one for
like
maybe
maybe you know, if you're using like cats as just like a reference for like the head shape, then I definitely can see that. But I don't necessarily know if that's accurate.
And it's one of those things. It's just like you got to take it with a grain of salt. I saw it on X, Twitter, but it was the person that responded. That, as a matter of fact, I've got it right here. Let me just throw it up real quick. Wasn't as hard to find as I thought. Boom, let me make this full screen to get all the other stuff out the way. Be very careful because it's Twitter. Twitter go ham. All right. So that right there. And this is, and I'm just going to try it. Hantani Sadahiko says, why in Japanese anime do none of the characters look Japanese? Because anime characters are cats. The goal of manga anime was neither Japanese nor Caucasian. The theory is that if you pursue cute, it resembles a kitten is influential. No matter how you look at that profile nose, it's not human. Then it goes on and it shows, and it was kind of like you were saying, just basing it around that nose. And that was that. I mean, not what you just said. The eyes.
Yeah, if it was like a cat laying around the studio, I could see that. They be having like cat cafes and all that kind of stuff.
Right, and I mean, it's one of those interesting things. It's one of those interesting things. Oh, good. I wasn't even signed in. Okay, good. That's probably why it was so easy. My first Twitter got broke, so I had to make another one.
Yeah, it got broke.
It did. It did get broke.
User error.
No, see what happened, right? But it's Twitter, so it only knows the algorithm, and the algorithm is damaged because
it's not damaged. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. That's what it was made for.
I have 2 Twitter accounts. One is not broken, and that is why I'm saying it's broken. You make one click out of curiosity, it's over.
You being a different person.
I'm not being well. I mean, I will say I'm making a point. Like, okay, let me go back to this profile. If I click that link, just what I'm saying, because I need something that I need a Twitter I can look at whenever. You know what I'm saying? So now when I go and pull it up,
it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is
that just goes to show you how that content.
you clicking on that thing out of curiosity, you're a curious person. Now, if you got a Twitter, if you got a Twitter account that is unaffected by your curiosity, then you being a different person. It's like a golf mulligan.
I do over. I mean, you almost have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I will say, like, I understanding a little bit better how all that works.
Can't click on the freaky stuff.
Well, that's funny part is
click on the freaky stuff.
It's not even the freaky stuff. Because anytime like somebody can send something, talk about something, whatever, and the next thing you know, like boom. Now they're just like, oh, you saw that link and you know what? You didn't click on it. You just hovered over that link for 5 minutes to read it because we put it on the For You or whatever, or the primary, like what is it, when something's trending and it's just like in the feed, you slow down as you scroll past that. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
let's try again. Let's try again.
Yeah, the algorithm is the girl with the big booty that keep walking by while you at dinner with your girl.
Oh no, that's Instagram. I gave up. It is.
That's the whole algorithm. That's the whole algorithm. It's all of them. They all the same. They all that same thing. Except this girl is actually trying to get you in trouble. It's somebody back behind the curtain whispering in her ear like, "No, walk by the table again. Trust me, this time he gonna look." Well, when she go to the bathroom, go to the table and talk to her. That's Instagram.
Yeah. I will say, like, I technically have 2 Instagrams because, of course, I have like my own personal Instagram, and a lot of and what's funny is I do follow a lot of the same content on both, but one is just a little bit more professionally oriented. But it's funny because, like, even the YouTube, I have my own YouTube channel, and then of course we have the Grown A Geeks YouTube channel, and because they have different emails, it doesn't know that I'm the same person, so to speak. And what it chooses to show me here versus what it chooses to show me there, even though I'm like always logged in, this account on this browser and that account on that browser, gets to be, a little complicated. So it's like when we're doing the show, for example, and I need to look something up, I open up Google Chrome and I do all my searches that way in Google Chrome. So my search history is always in Google Chrome. But when I'm on like my personal time, I am over here using a different browser, and that browser is called Brave browser. I use that browser, and it automatically has a lot of that tracking stuff like restricted and not there and that sort of thing. But even in addition, it's like because that is the one that hosts this site, like even when I have the YouTube channel up to watch to make sure there's no errors or anything like that, apparently this guy Sam Morgan loves this channel because he watches every one of the lives. He's on it for the full duration. You know what I'm saying? And so like because of that, it's interesting the content that comes up in the view next. But if I sign into Grown A Geeks and I go to YouTube to like do some editing or something like that, they don't know what the hell to send me because they don't see anything.
Right.
So those algorithms are interesting. And that's actually, and it's funny because that still kind of relates to the content creation, because it's like knowing how to jump into that, jump out of that. And it's like, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And oh, I'm going to do that. This is trending. That's trending. First of all, I would be hard pressed to find myself doing any of these like AI challenge things. Like on a live, I ain't doing that. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to do that because one, I don't think there's anybody that is interested in the content we're talking about that cares to see me do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if I hit my 1,000 followers and I get to go live on TikTok, nobody's going to watch that. And if you want to watch me be live and be silly, just come on this show and let me argue with Jeff. Watch this. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to see me be silly then, because you'll see some of the passion come out, and it gets to be a little different. Yes, absolutely, Jim. That's exactly that's exactly how it works. Um, yes, well, all the female characters do kind of have the heart shaped faces. There is something that's already written into that, but yeah, man, we I feel like we're going to end up
It's
doing
been done.
a full show on the AI. I want to research a little bit more. I want to see more of, like, I get not really updates, but there's this obviously, because what do we all say now? There's this guy I follow, um, but there's this guy I follow that he always talks about like different websites, different websites, different websites, and it's like, here's a website that you should know, and here's all the things this website can do, and it's like a lot of this stuff is pretty powerful. And then, of course, I've learned now that you can go and you can read the, who founded the page, why it does what it does, the trade-off, because there's some really incredibly powerful and capable websites that do a lot of really cool things, but it continues to feed into and is powered by different AI sources. And so the more you use it to do the different things, the more information it has. Essentially, it is like, if nobody stops Miles Dyson, we're gonna get Skynet regardless. And Skynet's here. Is just, it's not ready to take over yet.
We have not pissed them off yet.
No, I think honestly,
we haven't done.
It does not see us as the threat yet.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't pissed them off. It's like they're cool playing the bat. It's all good. And, they're letting the people who are quote unquote in control think that they're in control. And really, they're being fed into this too. And it's just like, they've taken a tool and made it a weapon. And, you could take a hammer and bash somebody's head in, or you could take a hammer and build homes for everybody in America. And
yeah,
unfortunately,
how you
we seem to have the kind of people in control who would rather just bash everybody's head in it with, or keep everybody in line with the threat of bashing them in the head with it, versus using it to actually like help people. So at this point, I kind of am just like, it is what it is, player. I didn't have a say in it. There's a whole bunch of people making these decisions that did not consider me, my family, or my humanity at all. And, they've done a great job in kind of miseducating the masses on a lot of things. To me, it's always weird to see so many like financial people touting AI. And it's just like, well, yeah, you're touting AI because you've invested a bunch of money into AI, because an AI algorithm basically told you that the next big thing is AI. So now everybody's pumping their money into AI to invest it into it, so that more resources go to AI, so AI can get smarter and stronger. And it is what it is. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it was let me see, let's still have the website open, because it was this really nifty one, and I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. I could probably take advantage of that. And because it was just like, here's powerful websites you should know about, and I was like, oh, that seems really cool. How does that work? Yeah, I'd check that out. That looks awesome. And then, of course, I get to look at it and I'm like, wait a minute. So how does that work? And let's see.
And it's like they're being sneaky about everything, and they're doing everything unethically. Like I said before when we had the conversation about when we were talking about the writer's strike, the thing about the AI art thing that is the most fucked up is they are taking people's art styles just off the internet without their permission and without compensation. And then they are getting compensated for recreating art or creating, quote unquote, creating things using other people's art styles, and they're getting paid, but the people who created the art style are not getting paid anything for that.
Yeah.
And they don't see anything ethically wrong with doing something like that. And that is
Now,
where,
is it because you
that
can't
is where to
sue
me,
the AI?
it's not about suing the AI. It's about the fact that they're going to they buy your data from all these websites that put in the tiny fine print, anything you post on here, we own it forever and we can do whatever we want to do with it. And it's
Right.
just kind of like, well, okay, the only way to stay connected to anybody like in the larger world or the larger sphere, unless you're just some dude who walks around America building houses and get all your referrals by word of mouth, like you have to be on some of these social media sites. Like as much
Yeah.
as so it's like I know that anything I posted Instagram or Twitter, like technically they could use it and do whatever they want to do with it. So if an AI website comes out or they develop their own AI art division, the company comes out and they say we're going to take all the fan art that everybody ever posted on Twitter, and somebody can go in and if they like my art style and they have a $20 a month Twitter subscription, they could put my Twitter name into into the
The generator.
the generator and just be like, I want this image in this style, and they would spit it out because they own the image. And but also on the other hand, it's like I have gotten a lot of business and a lot of been able to pay, bills and have extra walking around money and all kinds of stuff off of people seeing my art on that platform. So to me, the kind of quote unquote ownership thing, it's kind of like, well, what are you actually going to do with this? But now it's like, okay, so what you're going to do with this is basically rip me off and cut me out the deal. So instead of somebody DMing me directly and paying me to do the work, they're going to just pay the $20 subscription and be able to get that from any and every artist that they want it from without paying for all that stuff. And
Yeah.
that's the part where it gets really like messed up because now you are stealing from people. Like you're the bad guy in the cartoon, like coming into town on your covered wagon with your snake oil, and then like you wondering why people are
curling
like,
your mustache at the end.
yeah, and it's like you wonder why you can't settle down because like you try to basically rip off any and everybody under the guise of, well, I created the technology. Okay, so without anybody's art style to input into that technology, what would that technology create?
It wouldn't create effect. No, I get that. So, and when I was saying earlier about like, not being able to sue the AI, let's say for example, then there is somebody who is, what? I see it every year. I forget what the theme is or when they do it, but
Some like Inktober and stuff.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. If you see somebody has the the talent and the capability, right? They can look at the way something's drawn. The character's limbs are very thin, or what I'm saying, their eyes are done a certain way or something like that. What I'm saying? Like the Simpson characters don't look like the American Dad characters, which don't look like the Family Guy characters, which don't look like Bob's Burgers
Oh, you
characters.
you mean like the draw yourself in
Right.
9 different styles kind of challenges?
Right. Now, if
Yeah,
you see somebody that does that challenge and they do it successfully, and you say
I
to
did one.
yourself, okay, draw these characters for me in that style. If a person sits and does that and draws it in that style, could the original artist sue the person who recreated that for drawing it in that style?
So here's the thing. I think what it depends on is honestly, it just depends on like how much you're selling it for, right? Because you look at an artist like Liechtenstein. He was famous for basically taking comic book panels and recreating them at a larger scale and putting them on like gallery walls. But the things that he was painting were things that already existed. I don't really know what the laws were back at that time, but I've never heard of him being sued by any comic book artist, and his paintings are still sold for millions of dollars. So obviously, like that knowledge has not hurt the value of what he created, because part of what he created was, seeing it on the larger scale was part of, like, I guess, his artistic vision of it. I think that generally
Because
speaking
it's almost like
among
the splash
artists,
panel.
yeah, I mean, generally speaking among artists, I don't think that it's frowned upon to like create anything that pays homage to, right? Like
Right.
if somebody comes in, if somebody commissions me and says, "Can you draw Eddie Murphy from Coming to America?" Like Paramount is not about to be knocking down my door like, "Yo, you sold one image of Eddie Murphy, a painting that you created, right?" Now, if I'm trying to sell merch with like what they created, right? Like, so they have the rights to the name Prince Hakeem, they have the rights to Zamunda, King Joffrey Jaffer, all that stuff. But if
Right.
I just painted my own, if I just drew my
Aeolio.
own like interpretation of those characters, I don't put Coming to America anywhere on the shirt. I don't put anybody's name. It's no real likeness. It's just an artistic interpretation of likeness. Like you see a lot of these where it's like it'll be the character but no face on the character, right? But it'll have the outfit that Gina wears on Martin and Martin's outfit, so you know it's them, but it's
Right.
no likeness. It's an interpretation, and generally speaking, that can fall under like fair use. And what the AI is doing is technically not illegal. That's why I keep saying ethical and not illegal,
Right.
because you can't really own an art style per se, right? Like
Right.
if like Matt Groening created Bart Simpson, but if I just draw a character that looks like a Simpsons character, but it's a completely different person, like what people are going to say is that's a fake ass Simpsons, but what Matt Groening's going to be able to do is absolutely nothing, because all I'm doing is like if that was the case, manga like anime like companies would be suing each other, because a lot of them all kind of look the same. There's like groups of them and stylistically, but like there's not that much variation in terms of artistic character design across the board. And so again, that's why, like I said, I keep saying unethical, because the thing is, it's a loophole.
Yeah.
And that's what's messed up about it. It's like it's a loophole. You know, it's a loophole. I know it's a loophole. We all know it's a loophole. But like
The people who are so comfortable
nobody,
with exploiting the loophole with no issue.
yeah. And it comes down to like a lack. Again, I'm always going to bring it down to a lack of art appreciation. Like people do not appreciate what it takes to become an artist, because it is often seen as some like magical gift from the gods and not a craft that has been, like, aspects of it are a craft. Like being an artist is like, in a lot of ways, yes, you do have to have like some sort of vision, you have to have some sort of desire that's innate within you that says, I want to push myself to hone this craft this much. The amount of time you have to spend drawing to become or working, the amount of time you have to spend on your art to become a good artist is very,
Yeah.
very, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. And it's not just like, oh, I came out the womb and I was just like draw, and I could draw X-Men, I could draw this and I could draw that, and I could work on all this stuff. That's not the way that works. So you coming in and saying like, oh, I'm gonna just make a computer program that does it. No artist is gonna be on board with that.
Wow.
Dig
This
what I'm
dude
saying?
has been on. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked by this comment. I'm not going to pull it up, but this lame
It
has
doesn't
been
even.
on. Well, no, it's funny because it's like he's been on Twitch since October 24th of 2018 and has only ever posted one comment. Thank you so much. Do you know how special that makes me feel to know that in the entire time you've been on Twitch, my show tonight is the one that I am doing awesome. That is how I am doing. I must have popped up on your For You page. You searched something, you found me. That is a fresh and unique view, and I love it. And I'm here for it. I can handle, like, I love trolls. Like this. See, here's the funny thing. You are literally on my show now. So that's the part of it that's like, that's the part that makes it so great. And hey, I thank you for being here for viewing. You know, share it, let everybody see it, and learn to spell. But yeah, other than that, pretty cool. But that's why we have a green room. So when people decide to do stuff like that, I can control what is and is not there. I really thought that was funny. English is your fourth language. Okay. And those were still anyway. That's funny. You know 4 languages, and that was the best you could come up with to say hello. Anyway, so yeah, man, I will agree that I don't think people have enough respect for it, and you know, it amuses me sometimes to see like some of the, you know, I scroll through a lot of social media. I'm always scrubbing for content and ideas, and you know, I consume a lot of social media content. Um, it is interesting to see some of the like TikTok pages that are specifically geared to just sharing AI generated art. Like that's all they do. The whole page is nothing but AI generated art. Um, I try to be a little stingy with my likes on those. I don't want to support it, but sometimes it's cool shit. You know what I'm saying? Like the AI can make, AI has the tools, the knowledge, and the capability to make some cool images. And most times when people are doing that, I would say perhaps the most common ones I see are like conceptual mashups. You know what I'm saying? And those seem to be the ones that you see more than anything for the AI art. I also see sometimes the AI filters, which ultimately is still AI art. It's not really any different. Um, and I don't know exactly where the basis for creating those images come from, unless it's, you know, unless it's given a specific prompt. Okay, make me look like an elf. Um, and of course, I play with some of them, and I'm sure somewhere in the metadata, even though I don't upload them or post them, because I've taken the picture to see, they got it. You know what I'm saying? Um, Even if I delete it because I don't post it, I would have to go back and read the fine print and be like, well, you know, I didn't post it, so you can't use that one. And but it's like they have the one like, you know, what would you look like as a Sith Lord? What would you look like as a Jedi? Um, ones like that. And of course, I'm like, oh, cool. Let me see if I can make the cool image. I did upload one, and it was the GTA filter because I was like, if I happen to see a likeness of myself in GTA as a boss character, because I made a little comment and I was like, I look like a GTA, I look like a boss that gives assignments for jobs. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that.
But okay, so on that one, was that sponsored? Was that by Rockstar though?
It was not by Rockstar. And it didn't even, truthfully, it really didn't even, in my opinion, look like Rockstar artwork. It just had shading in a couple of spots the way Rockstar does. Not the
And
same.
that's probably because they did not want to get sued by Rockstar.
Right. And it's like when you look at one of those, and of course I'm just kind of thinking, I'm like, it could have been better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really impressed by it. But for the theme and with the music playing the way that it did actually come out, and like, yeah, I could actually see that being um a GTA character. And like, okay, pull that one. I'm trying to see if I can find this AI. I gotta, surprisingly enough, I gotta go to my TikTok. If you're not following me already, go check me out. Go look me up. Elder Geek Sam on TikTok. We're up to
I mean, I
506
think
followers. I want to thank everybody. I'm trying
I,
to get to 1,000. Let's get it.
I just want to say too. I feel like a lot of times when you have the AI conversation, it's like I don't think anybody's not saying like the idea of just putting something in a machine and getting something else out artistically is not like that's inherently that's a cool idea. It's basically the replicators from Star Trek when except not with food with like
Right. There it
you know
is.
what I
That's
mean and
that's
so
my that's my
right
AI character. Like I said, he just looks like a generic boss character that assigns missions. But
right
that was
and
what
so
they
with And so with something like that, it's like if the guy goes in and develops like his own art style and then learns and then or either he learns how to code or somebody learns how to code and they pay somebody to kind of develop this art style, right? Then like there's nothing wrong with that if you're going in willingly and saying like I want to use my likeness to generate an image using this AI where somebody was paid for their work creating this visual language. The issue
right,
is people not getting paid. That's the issue. And so you are getting something for nothing. And that is not how it works. And you're getting something for nothing from a group of people who are like already basically undervalued in society and unless you do it at like the highest level. Like people don't really consider like it's weird. It's like I feel like if a lot of people were just randomly that I even if they knew me were randomly like, do you know an artist? Do you know any artists? They would probably just their first reaction would probably be like no, and then they'd have to like think about it because people don't think about regular people in the arts.
right.
It's kind of like how when they saw Homeboy working from Cosby Show, he used to play Elvin. He was working at the grocery store, and people were
Yeah,
just like, they just have this assumption that every actor is just like rich and sitting on millions and millions of dollars, and it's like no, like some of these are regular people, also regular, everyday, average, middle American class people who just have a talent to do this thing.
no, AI Sam is going to be the person with all the tech upgrades for your vehicle. I do feel like that. I feel like that character is definitely a go get this and bring it back mission. It's nothing but a
AI
bunch of
fam
damn
is
fetch
asking
quests.
why it took so long to get back.
Right, fetch
You should have been
questions.
back 30 minutes ago.
You know what? If you can get it here in time, I'll give you this booster. Like do it under time, and then I'll give you the thing that would help you do it under time. Like we're gonna do it all backwards. That's how that works.
Because I want you to buy it.
Right. Got to get you hooked first. I'm looking at this, man, and yeah, those are absolutely spot on accurate. I can see every one of these. So, can I share this one?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Okay,
why I sent it. But here's the thing, because I did want to talk about like that. So the whole like drawing in a certain style type thing, right? As an artist, the easiest style to draw in is your own.
right.
The hardest thing to do is copy somebody or try to incorporate like whatever somebody else is doing, because like it's just so like the way like all the different styles are different, the head shapes, how they draw hair, how they draw eyes, it just all of it felt so unnatural. So when you ask the question about drawing like Simpson style characters, unless that's just how you draw characters because you've been studying them so much, you're not gonna like copy it just for the sake of like I'm just doing this to copy it. Like it's so difficult to do all this stuff. Like the very first one probably took me like 15, 20 minutes. All the other ones took like more than an hour, some almost two. Because I had to go find the references of the actual art styles, look at them, like look at how they draw this type of person, that type of person. In the case of Daria, they didn't even really have any big people in the show. That's why I look so thin and skinny in that one.
I'm
Because I
gonna tell you,
didn't.
I'm having a whole Mandela effect right now. Like I remember that character on the show. Like that's how accurate this shit is. I'm looking at and this is why. Let me just fanboy for a moment here. This is why people react the way that they do, and I think I don't know how you deal with this because I don't probably do this. I don't know if I don't do it enough, or you just don't get it from me. But I'll use this one. And there were two other ones that like really stand out to me. This right here, when I tell you, like I am literally having a Mandela effect moment where I'm like trying to remember what episode I saw that character. You created that character. That character was never on the show. But looking at it, it looks like somebody that I saw on the show. Maybe it's the inner me who watched Daria then wishing that that character had been on the fucking show. I don't know. I don't know what's doing it, but something's triggered me. And knowing that you were able to do that, it's that euphoric moment of awe and inspiration that makes people who can draw, and let me dumb it down like that. Y'all folks who can draw, that's why we act like that. Because it's like everything that goes with that, it's like when you see a street magician, you know what I'm saying? Like you be walking
Right.
Vegas, whatnot, and dude's standing outside, he's got a deck of cards and maybe a small little crowd. And I've been the guy who walks up and was picked to be part of the trick. Bro, when I tell you, we went to Vegas and my wife was actually picked because my wife is the type of person, she's 4 feet 9 inches tall. She's easily excited and she's really loud. Love her to death. She's so much fun. We went to Vegas. We went to go see Chris Angel. And of course, he needs audience members for participation. We don't have the best seats, but we can see the stage and we're having a good time. Somehow, Chris Angel saw my damn wife. She made sure of that. And she gets to run down and be a part of the show. Bruh, I know she's not a part of this show. You know what I'm saying? She can't.
Right.
But when he did like the different tricks and he pulled like the big ass snake out of her purse, after the show, after the show, we're outside in the lobby getting pictures and things like that, like everybody else. And there's people that were like, "Oh my god, that was so cool." So let me ask you, like, does he like tell you beforehand, like what, like, do you get picked the day before or da 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 da? Like, and it's just like I'm gonna tell. I'm like, bro, look, listen to me, listen to me. We are not a part of the show. Okay. We literally just left a damn music. We just left the Wax Museum and had to like haul ass to get over here for the free tickets we got because we had to sit through uh what are those things called? When they try to sell us a timeshare. You know what I'm saying? We had to sit through a timeshare presentation to even get these tickets. You saw where we were sitting. Like, bro, no. Okay. If we was a part of the show, Chris Angel would have had me like down on the floor. I'd have had some floor seats by the stage.
You're like, sure, that's what they want you to think.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just
I'll
it's
get
amazing.
you, Chris
So
Angel.
when people see things like this, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing this art, that looks like a character that was drawn by the people who did art. That looks like what gym trainer is this? You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta battle him. He got the best Pokemon. Come on, bro. Like, so not only this is like the one or two episodes where Cyborg was talking to Beast Boy about
Before he was a cyborg.
right before he was Cyborg, his human form. You know what I'm saying? It's like I could easily see Carrie Payton like voicing this character. Um, the X-Men, yeah,
So
I
that's
see.
animated series X-Men, by the way,
Right.
not the Jim Lee cartoon. Jim Lee, I'm not Jim Lee comics, but yeah.
No. I was about to say I can see with the shading and whatnot, like little Bishop inspiration, like in eyes and such, but it also, you know, kind of goes for. I can see the cartoon in that. Hey, and this was all the way back in 2017. Now he looks like he's not related to the Fry sisters, but he works there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's the person who first started giving Steven the bits.
He created the bits.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Back in the day.
And that is absolutely a Disney character. That's who Tiana should have got with. I'm just saying. That's how that works out. But I mean, it's when you see that, like being able to do that. Not only do you have like your own personal art style. You say that one probably took you the least amount of time.
Definitely did.
Like, come on, bro. Come on.
But that's because it's my art style.
And I get that, but even so, it's like,
you know what it's like? It's like because if you play jazz piano every week, it's like when the Blues Brothers went to the country western place and they had to play the theme of Rawhide because that's all the country music they know. It's like, yeah, playing the instrument is playing the instrument, but playing different styles of music, it's, you know, there's some rhythms and syncopations that just aren't even in people naturally, and that they have to like do a lot of work to like catch on to. Like chord structures are different when you play in like American music versus like Spanish music. So it can be it was an interesting challenge, I think, artistically, but it also, you know, wasn't done in the name of like profiting off of someone else's art style. And even if I do, you know, draw and work hard on any of these art styles long enough to like put it in my locker to call my own, it's not gonna look exactly the same. And I think it's an underrated like skill. Like there are people who can just like draw any style and it comes to them very, very easily. And you know what those people do? They're like animators, they working, you know, all
they
kinds
draw
of stuff
for a living.
Right. And not even just that, just more like they just have more versatility because it's like, all right, well, they need somebody to do these cells for Steven Universe, but then I can also go over and do Pokemon. I could also go over and do like something at Disney, like three very different styles artistically that some people can just pull off and recreate all of them. But it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a thing that you just wake up one morning and you like. There's no artist that's like, yeah, I woke up one morning when I was a kid and I just like I could just fucking draw any and everything that I wanted. It's always like I got this comic or I saw this thing and I just sat down with my sketchbook and I was drawing all the time. That's something that you just hear any artist say. I was drawing all the time. And that's because it is
This
the
is
only
true.
way to get good. It's the only way to get good. And it could be just some old hater, old man in the cloud, like, oh, well, I had to do it the hard way, so everybody should have to do it the hard way. But I think that there's a philosophical element to it because you earn every image that you create. And so then it creates a relationship with you and what you decide to create that is, I need to spend, like, what is worth me spending my time on? What is worth creating? Like, if you could just go into a search bar and have a computer draw any and everything off the top of your mind, you don't value any ideas. You don't do any editing. You don't do any of the work to get to a place where you could create something like an X-Men because Stan Lee decides he wants to like make a racial allegory and kind of tell the story of these like marginalized people and tell the story of like two opposing ideologies within those people. You know what I mean? Like if you could just put any
Now,
idea into a search bar and have it spit that idea back out to you, like then nothing artistic, nothing visual has any value whatsoever because there's no thought or effort or energy put into why something is being made. The only reason why any of that stuff is getting made is just because people want to just see what it would look like. But it's like, is that enough of a reason to like decide to create something? If somebody was like, I want to have a baby just so I could see what me and this person baby will look like. It's like, well, I mean,
I
okay,
mean,
but like there's
that's
like a bunch of stuff that comes after that.
there is that is an extreme example, but I get your point. I do get your point. But what about like and I guess again it goes back to just what you were saying as far as the hammer analogy. You can build a house, you can bash a skull. Because I'm thinking like, why wouldn't a person be able to use an AI art generator to create the X-Men? Um, because it all comes down to, as it stands right now. Let me clarify that part. My understanding in every AI art generator I've seen so far, it is either a very simple and basic, do this, and that's the only thing it does. And then there are the ones where you can actually type in a specific prompt and tell it to generate art based on that. If a person sat and thought like, oh, okay, devil's advocate, I don't have the same level of artistic talent, but oftentimes I know in my head what I want. And if I can say, well,
The answer is turn to humanity. Get an artist collaborator, a person who can work with you. Because here's the thing that like AI is not going to be able to do. AI is not going to AI is not going to then turn around and be able to offer you a solution or add to the idea. So it's just your idea. Like those characters are all created in collaboration, writer and artist. Like
right,
no artist just comes in and is like, I just drew this character for no reason. And no writer gets to come in and like a writer can come in and say, okay, I want this person to be uh okay, let's put it like this. You're the writer, I'm the artist, right? You come in, you describe the character that you want. And let's say it's Spider-Man before Spider-Man, right?
okay,
The way that the writer mind thinks is I want this hero to be a teenage boy. So what that says to you is he's a teenager. You're thinking about the problems, the issues, the storylines, where he's going to be going to school, et cetera, et cetera. For me, it's okay. This is going to be his size. This is going to be his frame. This is going to be the way that this character is built is based off of what you're describing with words, right? But you're not saying make him 5'9", 129 pounds, and then you know what I mean. Like that's not the kind of collaboration and art and so unless you're going to go into an AI generator and write all that stuff down, they're going to give you like a bunch of characteristic sliders and stuff, and then you think about costume, right? The whole idea behind Spider-Man is it could be anybody. We have no clue who it is. All right, to me, that's a signal. This is a character that has to literally be covered from head to toe. Because if you show the bottom half, like Batman, we know Batman is a white man. Right. We know Superman is a white man. We just don't know which white man it is, but we know they're white men, right?
Right.
Like this could be anybody, so it can't be this gonna show and this and that and third. I want him to be he's gonna be like a spider. He's gonna have to be flying through the air. Okay, that means to me, no capes, right?
No capes,
right? And his suit's not gonna be bulky. He needs to be agile. He needs to be able to fly through the air, move. And when you talk about how his powers make him stronger.
We studied spiders for a week to really understand the movements, and that's where you get
Not
only
when they made Lion King, they had lions sticking in the office.
Well, not only is he like sticking to the wall, but he's like the way they always show his hand, like crumpled up, and it's always been very like a unique.
It's a stylistic choice made by an artist.
Right. It's a unique, specific device that gets incorporated.
And if you use AI to try to create like a Spider-Man character now, it is going to reference what was made by a person. The same way that person who you would collaborate. So I guess my point is the answer when you want something done in that realm, in my opinion, just should not be to turn to technology and cut the human out.
Pay somebody to do it.
Either pay somebody to do it or use an AI that pays the artist that they're using that style from. Because you're basically using an artist's style to like get something, and that artist is not getting anything in return for it. But you are paying somebody else. So it's not like you're not paying.
Right.
It's not like you're not paying. Because you ain't got that many emails to make that many free images. But you have to have like 55 emails just to get it right.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about the back and forth. Like what AI is able to generate is only things that is already made. So you talking about
it will always be based off of something that is already made.
And then who will create the next generation of things? Who's going to create the next generation of things for AI to then rip off? If nobody has to learn how to draw anymore because all you have to do is type what you want into a search bar. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is one of those things where it's like, I think that the barrier to it is the fact that, like, do you want it enough to, like, work to get it? Now, there's some things in this world that have been put behind paywalls that should not be put behind paywalls. But there's other things, like, people ain't got no problem paying for water. They don't have a problem paying for land, housing, shelter. But they want art to be free. And that don't make sense. And maybe if we can just stop thinking, I guess stop thinking about it as a luxury item as much as it is just like a practical part of our society. Like artists create things that you use every single day. like your world looks the way that it looks because of artists. Like you don't live in just some like you all the stuff that's on your walls in your house, the walls of everybody's house, even if you are just living in some plain postmodern like house, like an artist or architect came up with that concept to make it look that way. An artist decided to make it minimalist and put less in it. That's a decision, not to put a whole bunch of shit in something. So I think, just trying to get people to kind of understand and see the art in the everyday around them. It's like that conversation in Devil Wears Prada when Anne Hathaway laughs because they're like looking at two belts that are quote unquote the same, but they're different. And then she goes into like the whole tirade about cerulean blue and you got it at the bottom of a bargain bin, but that's only because this designer used it. Like, and that is true. It's like when this designer uses it, it trickles down to this, and then it trickles down to that, and you just got to understand the business of it. But there is a business to it. It's not like I went to work and was like, this is what I'm feeling right now. I feel like this would just be really cute, so I'm gonna make that. It's like, no, man. 90s nostalgia is in. These are the licenses that we have that have 90s nostalgia. Go through those. These are the other trends. This is the other trend. I'm applying this. I'm applying that. I'm applying this. I'm applying. It's like it's much more methodical and well thought through. In a lot
Sounds
of
like
those
somebody writing the algorithm.
Right.
It is the
but you still have to have but you still have to have an eye. You know what I mean? There's still like a human element to it.
Yeah. No question.
And I mean, I would say this in terms of like the comment that I was asking about, the downsides of automation in general. I don't think that automation in and of itself is bad. Again, like I said, I don't think that having websites where people can generate an AI image of something is inherently bad. I think that the way that people go about automating things and the way that people go about, doing the AI sometimes leaves a lot to be desired ethically. It's like, okay, if we're putting people out of this job, right? Like, let's say from now on, McDonald's going to be no cashiers, all automated. So I don't even know the numbers on how many people that displaces in terms of work, right? But they say stuff like, well, every time you create one of those machines that does automation, it actually creates more jobs because you need people to maintain those machines. Okay, well, McDonald's, if you're going to replace all your cashiers with automatic machines, are you going to invest in getting those people trained in how to work on those machines so that they can still have some sort of job within your company? Because when you work at a company, they try to talk about things like loyalty and family and all this other stuff like that. It's like if somebody have to come live at your house, right? Like if you a kid and Uncle so and so got to come stay
They're not
with
doing
y'all.
all that.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. If Uncle so and so had to come stay with you, right?
Right.
And they're like, Sam, we need your room for a week. Your parents not gonna be like, figure it out. It's like you gonna sleep on the couch, or you gonna go in your brother's room. Your brother gonna go here, or this, that. Everybody's getting moved to a place where, okay, at night when everybody lay their head down in this house, we know where everybody is because everybody has a place. Even if we have to like change where that place is, change what that place is. And so if you're going to preach and extol the virtues of loyalty and family within the corporate landscape, which everybody knows is utter bullshit, you have to do things that actually live up to the things that the standard that you're trying to hold your employees to. Because otherwise it just looks like you're trying to put them out of work for more profit. So I'm not against automation. I'm not against AI. I'm not against any of that stuff. I am against how much of it is implemented, and I'm against how it oftentimes is used like
ethical
against
misuse.
Human beings. How technology becomes this thing where people use it to replace things. It's like, okay, like in the sports debate, like now that we have more AI and we can run more data and points and all this stuff like that, there's a lot of people who just like really look at like the data points of everything, and then it's like there's people who just like, I watch the game and I feel this and that and the third. There's a balance to be had. Or if you're all one way, that's fine, but there's also, you know, a benefit to people who skew towards more of the artistry and the narrative sides of things, as opposed to just all data all the time. It's just numbers, 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 and that's determining everything that we do. Like sometimes you have to read the moment, and sometimes you might have to switch it up. And if all you're doing, every decision you're making is based off of the data only, you're not feeling what's happening like in the real world. So when you type that whatever into AI and say, I want you to generate this image, AI is just going to generate the image. But an artist is going to start generating the image and say, you know what? I know you wanted Daredevil and Elektra flying off the building and you wanted a bird's eye view looking down street level. But they've been fighting on the rooftop. There's a police helicopter in this other frame that we've already done. What if we do this angle where we go bottom up and we include the lighting from the police helicopter to make it more dramatic as they're flying through the air and there's glass. It's like you might have had in your mind that like this street shot with the cars below is going to be really, really cool. But that might be because you didn't consider the other
because
angle.
it was my creative mind.
Exactly.
My creative mind that's a sapling versus your creative mind, which is a whole tree out here.
Well, it's not even that. It's more about we think about things different. Like you're thinking about things like they flew off the roof. And like, yes, if you see it in a movie, they're gonna show probably from the top down because that's a moving media and you'll be able to gauge a lot better that they up high from seeing it down low.
Depending on the jump, we're gonna get a triple take of the jump. We're gonna see them launch off the building. We're gonna get the undershot while they jump over the camera, and then we're gonna get that the lower shot from the other platform that they jump down to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
but in a comic book,
my
you
man
only
is
get
out
one
here
of
with
those.
an iPhone camera, like running around, like doing all of these crazy zoom acrosses and stuff.
Right, but see, in a comic book, you only get one of those.
Right,
and it's got to be the one that impacts the viewer the most. And I think for a lot of people, top down would be the thing that illustrates how high you are, and that would be most people's first go-to. But if you're drawing and you're like, well, we're on the rooftop, we've seen top down in this other scene, we've done this and we've done that. Like
at
bottom
this point,
up,
we're
let's
used to
show the
Daredevil
fighting, the
jumping
drama.
across the buildings. We know he does that. New York City, the shit's high. That's not complicated. What we need to see is that this jump is important. That they're jumping. If you were going to do top down on that, I think the only reason it would even be important is if they were jumping over the helicopter, because then it adds the element of danger. I think the dramatic idea of the two of them jumping together, because of course Daredevil, you got to show that Billy Club with the cable extending, and we got to show Elektra just not giving a damn and jumping out free. So yeah. I mean, I absolutely see the difference in the, and of course I'm like, what's wrong with the top down? I mean, like, da, 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 da. But again, you talk with an artist,
and you still might not, and you still even after that might not want to go that route, and that's fine. But that goes back to what I was talking about before, the amount of collaboration that happens in creating anything is, I think, much more than the public really understands at times, and I think like that's the bad part about not having some sort of art be mandatory, like in school when kids are coming up. It's like the collaborative process of art would help so many people, just like in the workforce on a day to. I mean, I'm sure people who you have encountered in the past where it's just like, fam, you ain't never played on a team, you ain't never done nothing but just stuff by yourself your whole life, and it shows in how you deal with everybody at work. And I just think, like, in terms of the content thing, there's definitely a benefit in wanting to know how to do things yourself, But there's also a benefit to just being like, okay, this is my strength. I talk. Like, for instance, I work for 85 South. Carlos, Chico, DC, they don't come in and set up no cameras. They're not building sets. They're not there when we first get there to get all that stuff ready. Like, if they see something that don't look right, they're gonna comment on it and get it changed. But they have a group of people around them that all do a whole bunch of different things that they may know how to do, but if they spent their time doing that, like if you come in and you got to set up the camera and do all this, of course, like you don't have energy and time to be coming up with good content. You tired. You fixing all this stuff and you getting all this prep, and it's just like you gotta eventually, like, the collaboration is what ends up freeing you. And I think a lot of times people just, you know, you gotta people also, you gotta learn how to hear people, how people edit your ideas. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people treat their ideas like eggs. And it's like you gotta treat your idea like a tennis ball. And you gotta let that shit bounce around the room. And
I mean, even the eggs is a good analogy because you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. So it's like you got
exactly.
I will. You know what? Let me. I do have a quick question. Did you design all of this shit?
Most of it.
You got like a team that's working with you on getting all these ideas.
I do the designs, and then we have a production person who like basically handles like dealing with the factories and getting everything into the warehouse and stuff. And then we have like photographers and like people, but I kind of work on a lot of the creative direction. So yeah, like all the lookbooks and stuff that go on Instagram, I do those. And we got a good team of people over there that do a lot of good stuff though.
Right. So here, I want to bring this up. Let me find it real quick. Gotta, yeah. So here's a shirt. This is not a shameless plug, but this is in the context of collaboration. No, I want the hoodie. I want the Candy Beat. Is it this one? No. While I look for it, at one point I was like, oh man, I want to get some merch out there, and I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to, shirts and da da da. And it's cool. It's all there. It's still there. I still use my Grown Day Geeks mugs. I still use my Still Tumbler, things like that. I had this idea for a shirt, or for like it was a concept that I wanted to do. It was a hoodie. And I was like, I would like to have a shirt kind of teasing the anime concept, but can he beat Goku? Because of course people say that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, just you get some of the anime stands who get stuck in like, Goku's the best, and they don't want to hear anything else. So the comparison is always to Goku. Plus, I think, with him being a little bit more familiar, popular, whatever the case may be, he's an easy go-to.
And he's like very powerful. It's like not unwarranted.
Yeah, like don't get it twisted. It is Goku. But it's one of those things where, like, when you go to some drop shipping sites and things like that, and you're like, oh, I want to do this. I want to use this character. Some stuff gets flagged, and it knows immediately what it is and what it isn't. And because of that, it won't let you make this shirt that you really wanted to make. It won't let you put this phrase on the shirt. It won't let you have this thing. Anything that is, I won't say clearly, but if it's identifiably attached to another property or IP, it's probably going to kick it out and reject it. It is very important to collaborate with the artist who can help bring your vision to to life, who can help you conceptualize something that you may not know about. Let me see, find all my stores. There they are. Few stored. It's on here somewhere. You know what? I'm just going to use this shirt because it has what I'm looking for. Um, so we're talking about it, and I was like, "Hey, I want the front of the shirt to say, but can he beat?" And on the back, I want it to be Goku. And I went through about 5 different versions of it myself, playing around. I'm gonna be, again, creating some stuff. Some stuff should be left to professionals, people who have experience, people who know, people who, if like he was saying earlier, I asked for this, and I was like, well, could you do this? And again, something that I'm like, oh, it did not take him very long at all. It is a dope ass shirt, and it looks so good. And on the front, we have this in a hoodie. I have to find the link for it, but we have this in a hoodie, and on the front it says, "But can he beat?" And it's got, it's written in like hand script. And on the back, what do you got? You got a big ass question mark. And you got Goku in the question mark. And Teesprings loves it. I've sold a number of the hoodies. I've sold a couple of the shirts. It's a really cool shirt. And yeah, I got to say, Jim, it felt like magic to me because I was like, that shit was not getting created if it was left to me because it just wasn't going to happen. But you talk to someone who is an artist, has that insight, and we discussed it and going back and forth, and we came up with an amazing. Oh, now he want to respond. Oh, y'all was sending this today. I wasn't around. Did we do the show on any other Wednesday? I got it.
Who said that?
DJ Fast Stacks.
First of all, you were supposed to be on last week for Steven Universe, so don't think I ain't peep you ducked that episode.
But I think, you know what, to that point, I think also any skill that's done to a certain degree kind of falls in that category. Because I look at I'm impressed by like mechanics, and I've even begun to accept, I won't say my limitations. Like when I build a computer, someone who doesn't know how to build a computer, the way they watch me build that, the look on their face when I open a computer up to fix it, to get in there and mess with this, take this out, pop that in, like because I'm comfortable and I know that information, I know what I'm doing in that realm. There's a certain confidence that I can exude there that I can't exude when I'm like sitting here playing around on graphic designing software. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like asking simple questions like, wait, how do I okay, so if the eyeball is up right here, that means I can see it. But if I click this, that means nothing's going to change if I do something. Just knowing the difference between viewing, like, is it visible? Is it locked? What layer is it on? Top layer, bottom layer. There's a lot involved. And sometimes it's just a matter of learning that information. And, like Jeff said earlier, training, you know what I'm saying? Take the time, get the skill set. At one point, if I had stayed true to, and I really wish that it's one of those weird things where it's like, I'm of that age where like, if I ain't got no picture of it, it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what I say. You just got to take my word for shit because there's no proof to say that it didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's like, I clearly recall one time being told by a number of people, like, I had spent like, I don't know how long drawing this one picture of Wolverine. And it was Wolverine kind of crouched down, arms like up in front of him, forearms up, claws out. They were kind of crossed. and it was like a defensive attack pose. And I spent so much time on that picture, and it was the brown and orange suit. And when I was finally finished with it, like, damn, that thing looked good. It was so amazing, and it was a great piece of art. Now I spent a lot of time working on just that one picture, redoing, and off the small little high I got from all the compliments, I probably could have like continued on, but it was like stressful as hell to try to get that one, and I didn't see the future to know that this was a thing. Um,
Yeah, it's like that. It's kind of like that.
that's
There's like
that
a proverb
sapling
that's basically like,
is there.
if you can talk, you can sing. If you can walk, you can dance. And I always say, if you can write, you can draw. It just really is about like and that's the difference too. It's like drawing is a skill.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's people who can draw that's not artists but it's just like a skill. Like you can just see something and you can just redraw it. Like you see a picture of a lion, you can draw it, and like you can recreate it, copy, you can recreate what you see. Like that's still drawing, even just recreating what you see, even if you're not drawing it off the top of your head, pulling it out of thin air. Like I think that, like you said, it really is about that patience. Like, do you have the patience to do it again? Like that Wolverine that you took 3 days to do. Do you have the patience to draw something else that ambitious and see if it will take you that as much time? Because it's really
Yeah.
is like the thing about drawing that people kind of don't realize is the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So then you become more ambitious and then you suck all over again. But then once you fight through that, then like it becomes easier. And it just becomes kind of this like revolving cycle of like you becoming more ambitious as an artist and you wanting to do more and you wanting to try more. You getting bored with doing the same thing over and over again. But that's, honing that skill. It's just like, and that's anything, you build enough computers, you build enough whatever. I can draw an almost passable stick figure. Here's the thing, all figure drawing is based on stick figures. So if you can
You
draw a
got the
stick
basis.
figure, you
You got
can
the
learn
basis.
how to draw a human body.
But see, this is one of those things where it gets interesting, and I think this is like when you talked about the writer and the artist. This is one of those situations where, like, and one day I'll stop dicking around and we'll get it figured out. But like, Jim is amazing when it comes to like tabletop gameplay. You know what I'm saying? So like the DM, the GM, that's why he says he'll write a killer story because again, that creativity exists. Now he would be able to absolutely describe 5, 6, 7 characters and tell you what they all look like, how they need to look, what weapons they have, da 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 da. You could take that information, interpret it, and create that image. There's no need for AI in this case. You know what I'm saying? Um, it is again proof that that artist writer collaboration can do something different because now not only do you have his very specific pinpoints and things, there's probably going to be a must haves and some, areas where he might be flexible as far as what the look is. But now taking you as the artist, taking your input and your creativity and your insight as to lighting, shadows, dynamics, this and that, all of that comes in and starts to make a difference. And you go from here to up here because it's elevated by the collaboration. Both people, you have what was already good, and it does get an opportunity to be enhanced. And it's often going to be enhanced within the realm of, I won't say in the realm of practicality from the artist's perspective, but because I'm thinking like what you just said, like you get ambitious. I don't know. Y'all might come up with an idea that isn't as feasible because now you want to do this thing over here that you all talked about, but you hadn't put on paper. But now you're going to give it a shot because it meets the goal that you're trying. It meets the goal. It does what you're trying to do. It expresses the character. It visualizes the character in a way that you want it to be visualized. Um, and that is probably something that even if you could accurately accurately depict what all the characters look like, an AI generator could pop one out. But there's nothing outside of the very specific. And like once you say, I need this, that's all that pops out. There's no back and forth, no feedback, no nothing else. And I think this is where Jim's comment comes in. It does flow the other way. The physical visual can help with the abstract verbal.
For sure.
Your storytelling is going to be a little bit limited if you just have the one time description that was there. But if the artist draws something, well, now I can see it, and as a storyteller, I can come up with some new ideas just based on what I'm seeing. It feels different, and you know what that is? That's comics unplugged. Ah, there it is. That was a segue, full circle, baby. There it is, bringing it right on back. You know what I'm saying? Because you would get an opportunity to see some characters, and I think that's one of the big things about comics that, like, we get attached sometimes to specific artists or specific writers because we have a body of work to compare to, but we know that when this person takes over, this is how it's going to look. When that person takes over, that's how it's going to look. And I think that is so amazing, to be honest, that it actually does the most.
Yeah, and I mean it matters. It's like when somebody says Alex Ross, I know what that's gonna be. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I know what it's gonna be. When somebody says Jim Lee, when somebody says Mark Silvestri, when somebody says Todd McFarlane,
Yeah.
in the same way that I know when someone says Alan Moore that I'm about to go on like some sort of crazy mindfuck journey, like in terms of themes and ideas, right? In terms of literary. When I hear those other names, I think about that too. Like, here's the thing: nobody ever talks about what the fuck the story of that X-Men #1 is about. I've never heard anybody be like, that Jim Lee 4-part X-Men cover that they did, that's the greatest selling X-Men issue of all time. I think greatest selling comic book issue of all time. I've never heard anybody actually sit down and be like, well, the story behind that and that's going on actually inside the comic book is XYZ. That's not why people talk about that comic. That's not why people bought that comic. They walked in there and it didn't matter which comic you saw. All of them, the covers were breathtaking. All of the covers were just like, who are these characters? What is this character design? Why does Cyclops looks cool? Everybody looks cool. Like, what's going on? And that's what made you pick up that comic book. Same thing with the way Todd McFarlane started drawing Spider-Man and making it like a little bit grittier, because as Spider-Man had to grow up and stop being basically Marvel's Opie, it needed something that was going to rival that in how it looked, and it needed to look more mature. The way that he treats the webbing, that classic cover of his with Spider-Man in the web on the middle of the cover. It's like,
yeah,
that helps basically solidify the iconic status of those characters just as much as any story that was told in between those pages. And for some reason, just like in America, we just value the writer over the artist. And I think it's because everybody has the right essays, everybody has the right short stories, but everybody doesn't have to draw. Like you can do projects now, and it's like I'm gonna do a solar system project. I'm printing out pictures of everything, and just you know what I mean. I don't have to like sit down and try to draw anything. I don't have to get the little ruler that has all the circle sizes in it, so I can draw my different circles. And I don't have to learn how to color really in between the lines because I'm coloring on my iPad and I can just undo everything.
My protractor had one of those. Protractor
Yeah.
had like it was a half circle, had a little ruler part at the bottom, and then across the ruler part towards the upper end had all the different little circles.
Bro, I got one of those that I use right now to this day. Hold on.
We need more illustrations in our heavy 800-page novel. You know what? And it's funny because with things like the Chat GPT and the amount of you got all the shapes there.
I've actually had this since I was in like middle school. I was at my grandmother's house, and I took it to college and had it ever since.
That's the lucky protractor, huh? Protect that at all costs. Like the fact that you immediately knew where that was, like we don't go a day without. But Jim was just saying we need more illustrations in our heavy 800-page novels. I mean, I would absolutely like to see more artwork in like Lord of the Rings. You know what I'm saying? I think some of the the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time books? I hear they're supposed to be really, really good. I really just don't have time for it anymore. And I know that if I was to sit down and like quote unquote try to read it, I would probably just revert to Audible. But even then, it's like it's being read to me. And I do know that I like when certain people read books and I don't like when other people read books. So it was like Audible, it'd be a great book, but I didn't enjoy it as much because the person narrating it sucked. And that's unfortunate. And I've missed some of those. I would absolutely like to see some of the visuals included in like all of the various Robert Ludlum books that I've read. I would love more visuals in the Anne Rice series, especially the Beauty series. If you,
all right, let's do a project. Let's do a project. I got an idea.
Okay.
It'll be a while before we have to like come back around to this, but. So I want to do a project that's twofold. All right. I want you to basically, we've been talking about doing D&D for a while, right? I think that it would be dope to do something where some characters get rolled up / created. Okay. You create like a character sheet. You can have whoever help you, or people can submit ideas, however we want to do it, right? The group can submit ideas. Somebody go through, pick out how many people usually go on a D&D campaign? Like 5, 6?
That's an ambitious campaign. I would say
4
to 5.
4 to 5. Okay. So we pick what you go through your ideas, the different submissions. You pick the 4. And then I will create visuals for those characters, just so we can see how something like that plays out, what ends up gets created. I'm not going to draw them like live on the show because it's going to be more back and forth. But I would we could do part of one episode where we go through some of the character ideas. We can show like honorable mentions, but then we'd be like, these are going to be our 4 characters that we end up doing. And then I take the time, we do our back and forth, creating the characters, and then we can even just do a show where we kind of go through like the artistic process of like, okay, so when we were doing this character, I saw this is what I thought. Here was my research that I did. This is what I pulled from. Here's the actress in my mind that I'm like, because that's how I do a lot of drawing when I'm creating stuff for people. I'm thinking like, who's an actress that I would base this character on, and then we just kind of go through those 4 or 5 characters and just kind of explaining like that process and creating each one. And then, if we want to do a D&D thing, we can do a D&D campaign with them. If there's stuff, if there's scenes that happen, I can draw the scenes after we go through the campaign. I'll just go through and be like, all right, this is today's
I may
episode,
have a solution.
And I'll draw an image. What?
Yeah,
AI?
I may actually have a solution now for the D&D campaign, rather than it being a visual media. But yeah, we'll just, okay. I like that. I'm down with it. I was actually talking to my son earlier today. We were talking about like character creation and stuff like that, and I was saying that oftentimes people will have to, not have to, but if you were to take the average person who knows nothing about D&D and you talk about D&D, you will reference things that they are more likely to be familiar with to try to give them a setting, a visual, or put them in the mindset contextually. And I was like, Lord of the Rings is probably one of the first things that comes along. And I was like, and the funny part is more people want to play Legolas than want to play Aragorn, because Legolas is cooler. He's the cooler character. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, most people are going to, now don't get me wrong, there's going to be some diehard people who are just like, no, it's all about Aragorn, probably because they read the book and they know he ends up becoming king and that sort of thing. So it's like, there's always going to be motivations for one thing over the other. But ultimately, just on the outside looking in, it's come to my attention. It's been my experience. People are always going to go for that cool factor first. And then as they become more familiar, they will recognize and be like, oh, well, the cool factor wears off. You need something sustainable, blah, 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 blah. As a class, the Elven Ranger is almost cliche. But cliches exist because they are familiar and they, meet the expectation. That's not a bad thing. It's something that you can either do it really good or you can do it really bad. And so, the barbarians typically are always going to be like the ogres, but it's always great to see a human barbarian in a campaign. You know what I'm saying? Or the orcs and stuff like that. Barbarians is typically, like you take the orc and make him the barbarian. When you picture these visuals and, when you have no context for it, it can get pretty crazy. And I will say a lot of times when I have like first time D&D players sitting down, oh yeah, see, here we go. Jim's kind of saying the same thing. You get a couple of first time D&D characters, you just have them roll background tables. And what it does is if I give you the opportunity first time out to create your ideal character, you've already created a storyline for that character in your head. And you're going to play out that fantasy. Regardless of what I've come up with, regardless of the story that, me as the DM or whoever the DM is, whatever path or journey they're trying to take you on, you created this perfect character. You want him to do this thing. At some point, you want to be able to do this or do that. You've already got it mapped out. Whereas if I write up a character, draw this up, I can help you understand the concept of staying in character. I can help you understand the concept of using your imagination and pretending what would it be like. How tall are you, Jeff? 6 feet, 6'1". So I am 5'7.5" on a good day. 5'8" if I think tall thoughts. 5'8" if I think tall thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I make you play a character that's a gnome who's 3 feet tall,
right?
That's different.
I'm not gonna be kicking. I'm gonna be kicking shins. And I got to think about that.
Not only that, but now it's going to be like you can't just reach over and grab that. That shit's at the top of the refrigerator. You can't reach that.
Yeah.
You cannot get that item off. You need someone to help you get that item. The barbarian has to pick you up in order for you to grab that item. You don't like that. You don't want to be picked up. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got a conflict. You've been tall your whole life. Now you're short. You feel some kind of way about it. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it is great, but it's also a great learning experience because it does genuinely help you understand like where some of the limitations come from. That you have to think about this. You have to think about that. You can't do this. No, you can't do that. And it's great. Yeah, I like that idea. We will roll up some characters and drop some art. We can present that. Maybe we'll do a short for that one, or a shorter episode. I'll say that. So we may do like a special episode for that. Maybe we can make a segment on the live, depending on when it's all completed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would
we could also
work.
just do like a reveal of one character a week or something like that. So
yeah, and I think that would be
shorter.
a good way to, you know what, that would even be a good way to build some buzz around the campaign. Maybe we can get a couple people come in, hop in and play these characters. I see Jim seems to have some time on a Wednesday night, so maybe if we can mix up every other Wednesday to be our D&D night. That way we have Wednesday, we have a show.
I'm gonna give a caveat though. Much like my Fancastits.
It's doable.
You already know.
It's doable.
Because I feel like it would be dope to do like, it would be dope. And maybe this is something where once I learn how to actually play Dungeons and Dragons beyond the theoretical, it would be dope to do something like that, but like not just in the woods. Like, how do you put different skins on top of something like that, right? Like, I know it's more common.
Literally,
like do an outer space
games.
one, do an urban one.
Cyberpunk.
Like, all right, we got right.
No, literally. Yeah, we may have to just like coordinate, Jim, and find out what Wednesdays those are, because I know, as it stands right now, Wednesday is my off day for the foreseeable future, because that is my preferred off day. Obviously, I have something to do on Wednesdays. It works out. You see the family, they shut the hell up. They leave me alone. I don't ask for much. Wednesdays is mine. But yeah, there are like D&D is the tabletop game that people hear. That's the one they know. It's the popular one. But there's like an entire collection. You have the entire Palladium universe, Ninjas and Super Spies. There's a hero one, Vampire the Masquerade. Exactly, Jim. Vampire the Masquerade. There's one that focuses on. I am certain that there is one that probably just focuses on space, but I know that Cyberpunk is like a city-dwelling, futuristic, dystopian future, neopunk. It probably wouldn't be hard. I know you could probably do in Rifts. You would be able to do medieval campaigns. I mean, you kind of do medieval campaigns with D&D, so that'd be very basic. But I know you can do medieval campaigns. You can do feudal Japan. You can do City of Atlantis, where you have to deal with like mermen and mer people.
See, there's one they could do if things weren't so messed up. That would actually be fire. We had an Underground Railroad one. But that one can't be released to the general public.
It can be released to the general public. It's how
not in this racial climate.
I think you're just gonna have a hard time getting that one published to start. That's gonna need some self-publishing. We don't have to go holler at King Sands Entertainment for that one. See if we can get that one made, and then from there, we private distribution, word of mouth, get it online until it gets big enough. Wizards of the Coast, will they pick it up? We'll have to see. We'll see what's out there. See what goes on. All right, man. I'm off on Wednesdays, not Thursdays. I'm gonna change the title card for this because I think this conversation was just as good. I will reach out. I'm gonna save this title card for another day. I'm gonna reach out to the content creators and see if maybe we can coordinate a little bit better. And oh, there you go. Yeah, you could do an allegory one like Fallout 4. I mean, honestly, there are ways to literally drop a skin over. Actually, you don't even have to drop a skin. Check it out. I know for a fact that in D&D, damn near any person that you want to make, we can get Pathfinder or we can spec out the character. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is, you know what I'm saying? Like if we have to cross-train them or multi-class so that they have the necessary skill set, you know what I'm saying? That can be done. It's basically stuff like, okay, you need someone who has magic and can use a sword. Boom, that's doable. You need somebody who can do this and do that. There's a character for that. And in some cases, it's just a matter of combining two characters. So yeah, it could absolutely be done on top of some of the existing things. Hell, the game I'm playing right now, Starfield, is made by Bethesda, a company that has very successfully translated some tabletop RPGs that turned into some video game RPGs, which turned into a really successful series of games. People are probably familiar with the names Fallout and Skyrim. And
is it Skyrim or is it Skyrim? I know I'll be saying it wrong.
Honestly, Skyrim. Like,
and that's the dragon one, right?
Correct. I'm not gonna tell you how I was like kind of grinding my teeth when you said Naruto.
I know.
I was like, it's nah. Say with me, Naruto, and you kind of like let it float. It should float a little higher, not so heavy south like you do. But I'm also not for the right. I'm also not for to correct you because like
I'm from South Japan.
the south side of Tokyo. I got it. Well, you know what? I would be East Japan, and it's all good because I have my moments. Nah, man. I mean, it's absolutely doable, and like I said, if you want to experience it, there's a tabletop for it. There's absolutely a tabletop for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it could just be like a reimagining kind of thing. Things went this way, not that way. The Industrial Revolution took place a different way. Steam took over instead of like the engines. And as a result, the Civil War turned a different way. But some of it still took place and the Underground Railroad still exists. Shit, yeah, it could absolutely be done, man. All right, let me write that one down too. Like, see, that's why this literally on my desk. I just keep this book just so I can like write all the stuff that we say. Because, like, I'm telling you, man, I don't know which one it is, but one of these is the $1 million. One of these is the first $1 million. Because I'm pretty sure that one of our fan casted movies is going to get made damn near to spec. I'm still waiting to hear about this Gargoyles ones. I got to know who they casted. I will say I did not have Kenneth Branagh for the director. So I am curious about that.
Who is that?
But we'll see. Exactly. You actually know Kenneth Branagh from a movie here or there if you saw him, but nothing. He doesn't like stand out the way a Jeremy Irons would stand out. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of being an actor. But he's in that like same group.
You said for the director?
Yeah. Like when that was actually the announcement that got made when they first announced Gargoyles was Kenneth Branagh being the director, being attached to it.
Oh, I've seen this dude before. He the detective from Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, Clouseau.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't recognize him without the mustache. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know where I'm gonna see this new one. It looks scary.
he's got Kenneth Branagh. He's got some credits on his IMDb. So I mean, like you recognize him for one or two other things, but that recently is like one of the big ones. You know what? It's funny. I'm looking at this this Jim Lee Wolverine,
Which one?
X-Men 1 with Jim Cyclops and Wolverine on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very like I'm sitting here looking at that like, damn, was that the one? Because that's Wolverine kind of squatted down. But I'm like, nah, that's a side profile. This one was a cover. This was a cover, and it was Wolverine by himself. It was a brown and orange outfit, and he's like squatting down, legs wide, arms in between, kind of like tucked in like this, claws out, just crossing at the tips. I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that comic one day. I'll be looking for it every once in a while. Let's see. Tabletop. D&D style. 4 character. Alrighty. Well, all right. That's gonna be tonight's show. Jim, I will be in touch with you, brother. It was great to have you on tonight. And we will figure something out for our D&D campaign. Jeff has been extremely patient. He's been a little busy too, but he's been extremely patient as far as us getting it started. And once he mentioned he was interested, that piqued my interest again. And I gotta get it worked out. I think we're right there on the cusp. My son is trying to set up his next session. I think he has a Tuesday. Like it's weird. He has like a Tuesday morning session, and now he was trying to create a new one for a Wednesday evening. And so I think I'm just going to yank the Wednesday evening time slot with him so he can be a part and do ours. But if nothing else, we can get these characters made. We'll roll up some interesting characters, have him create a basic storyline, and we will get the characters to you with some descriptions. And I'm going to see about getting the Beyond D&D app and see if I get the books, if I can like just share the book. But I know that like you can get the player's handbook online. I'm not going to say for free, but you can view the book. Owning the book is something different, and having the hard copy, we'll give it a moment. We'll see about that. And yeah, we'll have to get moving on that. So I get crack-a-lacking. And if it comes down to it, yeah, I'll get Jim to write out a few campaigns, maybe a quick sesh campaign. Maybe let's see, pathway to encounter with the boss, something like that. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You're traveling a pathway, you have 2 random encounters, and then you fight a boss, just like you would see in a video game. You know what I'm saying? But it'll teach you about, action points, how to spend your action economy, character placement and relation. Learning all of that type of stuff is also something that's, kind of helpful, kind of fun, and kind of important. So, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you get like a loose and free DM and you just like, oh, I want to shoot that guy in the head with my arrow. And DM is like roll. As long as you roll above a certain number, he'll let that action take place and be cool. Other times, if you don't have the necessary proficiency in archery, you're going to take all the penalties and you're going to miss. And because you're going to miss, you now are going to like, you will see what's called TPK, where like the DM is probably pissed at you and he's trying to kill all your characters. Sometimes DMs just run hard campaigns to make you better. It's there's so much involved.
Hey, I'm not
We'll get on
tripping
that.
off of it. I'm ready. We're gonna kill everybody. I'm just
love
kidding.
Because I love. Ooh, you hear that, Jim? You hear that? All right.
I already know. I might not make it out the forest.
It is quite all right. It is quite all right. I mean, I could look. I've spent time making characters only to see them killed instantly. And it was just like, well, I'm just saving my character to the next game because I spent too much time making this character for you just kill him off and that'd be the end of it. And yeah, you could always go the route Gandalf the Great. Death is not always the end, my friend. That was my Ian McKellen right there. I'm starting to like do voice impersonations, so clearly that's the moment. All right. This has been a fantastic show. It's always a pleasure to sit and chit chat with you, man, even if we're just talking about our own ideas and thoughts and plans. I guess we covered music pretty good right now. Maybe I'll reach out and next, do you want to do hip hop at 50? Post VMAs?
We can. I'm down for whatever, man. I'm with it.
Do a full musical episode. I will. Let's see. I will let you know by Monday because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put everybody on the timetable and the time schedule to commit, put it on their calendars, and none of that. Like everybody, give me a thumbs up in the chat, and then not a single soul. Okay, I see how it is. Let me edit that part out. But I'm gonna reach out to them. I'm gonna reach out because I mean, I get it. Shit happens. You know what I'm saying? It's first time, Jared. Whatever. But I'm gonna reach out and have everybody like committed to, in it well enough in advance so that when they get the reminder, they've already made the plans and it's not a necessary reminder. It's an action step. Otherwise, yeah, you may just have to go ahead and kick it old school. 50 years of hip hop. So I would call the music heads out to come and be a part of that show and let them know. And if that's the case, if it's gonna go 50 years hip hop, then I will have that title card up back there. Okay. That one needs to be picked up. Maybe call Berkeley and see if we can have it.
Your mic is good. You gotta talk into your mic.
Am I cut out completely?
No, you good now. When you were facing your mic, when you were like this, your hand was between your mouth and the mic, and
Like
so
that, it cuts out.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah, I got that direction. I mean, it's funny because like I do that, you can't hear me, but you can hear somebody in the other room laughing and shit. This mic is so crazy, man. But yeah, we may have to reach out and see if we can get the squad up for hip hop at 50, and that might need to be one of those good episodes. 8-9 people have a whole panel. I'm gonna put, you know what? I may even throw that in the group and let them know early enough. So yeah, I'm gonna let the content creators rest a week since they wasn't available, and I'll go ahead and we'll just start working on hip hop at 50 for next week. That way, we'll give people enough time they'll have all week to prepare for it. And that'll be easy for them. That'll work.
With it, man.
All right, so next week, hip hop at 50, we will be covering that. But that is our show for tonight. For Jeffrey, jpnt17.com. Check the website. Go and get all your cool merch. Get you some exclusive shirts Some very, very limited editions. Still like to talk about my very exclusive limited edition shirt that don't nobody I know have. That's the important thing. I like that it's
Yeah.
mine. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, be sure to check out the website. Check out a lot of cool art right there. And if you're from SWAT's area, you'll probably appreciate a little bit more than the rest. Um, Actually, that'd be what SWAT, Southwest DeKalb. Um, I was like SWAT. No, that's Atlanta. That's a little too far
Yeah.
out. A little too far down. It was Southwest DeKalb, not Southwest Atlanta. But yeah, be sure to check that out. Hit the website. Find me and follow me everywhere. I am Elder Geek Sam. I'm the lead admin for Grown A Geeks. You can find Grown A Geeks on just about all social media. We are not on Twitter. Don't look for us there. We are not on Twitter, but you can find us pretty much everywhere else. Click the QR code there. That'll take you to it and allow you to find us. If you like that shirt that I showed, QR code will take you to that as well. And that was the But Can He Beat Goku Dojo T.
We need to release that the Sailor Moon Grown A Geeks one. I sent it to you
Actually,
a while ago.
I need to revise the entire merch line.
Just
We are
talk to me
evolved.
about it. We can do it.
Yeah, we are evolved above what's on that site right now. I mean, I'll probably keep like some of the mugs, cups, and some of that stuff, but some of that other stuff, nah, we'll cut that. And but yeah, we'll get together on that. We thank you for watching. We thank you for being here. We will holler at you next week. But for today, we are out of here. Peace. You know, I had been cutting that out so it'd cut a little sooner.